This is Noise. Listener, can you hear me? Kept you waiting, huh? Looks like there's more content at pixelbenders.com. You'll have to click the link in the description below to access the site. You can send your questions to info@pixel-benders.com. If you would like to leave us a message, our frequency is 209-791-0995. Got it? Okay, you're ready to go. Welcome back, everybody. We are here once again. This is Codec Calls, a Metal Gear Saga podcast, and it's been a couple weeks. Last week we gave you a little tease. We tickled your balls a little bit, getting you excited for the Metal Gear episode, and we're finally here. I am accompanied by my two co-hosts, German, aka Contra, aka Riser. I don't remember what other AKs you have.
It's just those two.
Not AK-47s?
No AK-47. AK-74U.
AK-74U, that's, yep. Kriss, laugh along. And that is Kriss, aka Damn It Kriss. Yep, that's him.
AKA the world's worst gamer.
He has a third one.
Oh, that's right. I was like, did I forget something? Hero of Men, as Maui says. Yeah, Kriss surprised us today. I don't know if you saw that. German, he fucking decided to stream.
No, I didn't see that. I didn't catch it at all. Working. I know you're working too, but
yeah,
I don't always catch that stuff.
I went in there and I was like, hey, this was not authorized. What the fuck are you doing online?
That's cool. I'm glad you played a little bit online, Kriss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mostly heard him because I couldn't watch. And we were talking about it a little bit before we went live here, but it was difficult to watch you play. I mean, you made a new file on hard.
Yeah.
You were in the docks at one point, and you were like, "Wait, where's my radar?"
Yeah. Took me a good minute to realize I didn't have the radar yet.
Yeah. And somebody in chat was like, "It said in the menu that hard does not have radar on." So, so there was that. Anyways, so let's recap real quick. We have played through almost all the way through 4 games: Metal Gear on the MSX, Metal Gear on the NES. Those ones for sure we all beat. And then Snake's Revenge, which Kriss did not have time to make an attempt on, but at some point he will. Maybe we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
I tried. I guess I got through a quarter of the game.
You made it furthest, I believe, out of all of us.
Yeah, but only a quarter through, which is, I don't know if that's accomplishing anything. And then German, you made it, I'd say not that far behind me, honestly.
Yeah.
You just got stuck in that one spot. That's it.
The door that did not look like a goddamn door.
The door that did not exist.
That pissed me off. I'm sorry that the assets in that game were not the best.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was clearly a door to me. But
I thought it was just background. Swear to God.
Yeah.
And those two giant thing that looked like the door to me. So
yes, the thing that you were looking at that you texted me on, you're like, this thing? And I was like, those do look like doors, but they did not open for me either. So I knew that wasn't a thing.
That's like, do I need to? I put C4 on that. I tried the key cards. I was like, what the? I was like, maybe they're trying to do one of those BS, like you got to get caught, kind of board,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I was like, I'm done. I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah, that game, Snake's Revenge, is brutal. I do want to beat it one day. I have my save state, so.
Yeah, I won't lie. The music kind of caught on to me, and I was kind of digging the music. Even when we were playing these MG Solid 1 here, I still hum some of those other tunes. They're not horrible because you hear those like crazy. Those are there's only like 3 tracks in all the OG games.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The what is it called? The Terra theme or whatever. The dun dun.
Yeah.
Bum,
I love that.
Yeah, that one
so
is
good.
It's great. Yes, I agree with Snake's Revenge also. That music was great also. Even the NES Metal Gear, because they didn't all have the same music. They did have their own.
They did have
unique stuff.
No, it was like I said. I mean, we we played them for a solid minute, I mean, we played for almost a week straight, just a couple hours here and there. At least I did,
Yeah.
So they definitely got logged into my brain. So
yeah, I'm glad we put some real effort into it, because I feel like those games are just lost to time, and German and I have played the other games to death. Mm-hmm. So it was nice to get some fresh Metal Gear stuff, even though it's insanely old and probably stale to some people. They're like, what the hell, you're barely playing that now?
Yeah. Well, like you said, it was nice we know the storyline, we know what happens, but to actually do it, to actually play it, to actually say oh yeah, I fought Gray Fox. I read about it before in the future games, but I actually did it this time.
It felt like a piece missing out of our experience, because it's like somebody telling you a story, and you living through it. It was definitely completely different. Mm-hmm. And then we've sometimes been talking about this podcast in front of our coworkers, and they're like, what game are you talking about? And we'll say Metal Gear, and they're like, the NES one? And we're like, yeah, we sometimes will explain the whole thing. Well, originally, we become those actually people.
They're like the one for PlayStation? No, the one for the MSX.
Yeah.
What
the hell is that?
It's the original one. On PlayStation. No. The original.
Yeah, apparently there's original. But I'm glad that it's piquing their interest and stuff, and people are getting into it. I'm seeing the stats on our podcast, and we have over, if I'm not mistaken, over 100 downloads on just those 5 episodes alone.
Oh wow!
Dang.
Which is surprising to me, honestly, but I'm super happy about. And then all right, and then we did so we kind of jumped over Snake's Revenge because that shit was too hard for now. Maybe we'll have a Snake's Revenge reprise episode or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Is it reprise or reprieve, or what is the word?
We'll make up our own term, subsistence and all that stuff. We'll call it something.
Snake's Revenge, Revengeance.
There you go. No, that Revengeance already exists.
Oh, I know. Hindy's Revenge.
There you go.
And then we moved on to Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake on the MSX, and we all beat that one because it was actually a much more playable game compared to the other 3. Yeah, there was actually consistent rules. It was engaging, as it had story, it had deeper codec calls.
Yeah,
the best you can do at the time. You know, 1990.
Well, like I said, I think I said in that episode, it did definitely lay more of the ground rules for the upcoming games. Some of the stuff in this game, the radar was introduced in that game, and that's literally the same radar we're using in Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, I had a hard time at the beginning with the radar because it's in a grid system, so it depends what screen you're on. And in my brain, I'm like, I just want it to move as I'm moving.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't. I'm going to have to adjust the way I think and everything. And you can knock on walls and you can crawl. So yeah, all the things that start making Metal Gear are existing here, which is dope. Which brings us to this week, part 1 of 3 for Metal Gear Solid, the one that is most widely known and revered and celebrated, and it changed gaming forever. I don't want to take away from it, but now that I played the other 2, I'm like, those ones did it first for sure.
Yeah.
And just never got the attention that they should have gotten in the States.
Yeah.
Because in Japan, they totally did. In Japan, everyone was like, more Metal Gear, please.
Metal Gear.
And so we played through the first third. I'm dividing it into bosses. That's kind of how I figured out that was a third, because I guess there's 9 boss fights. Yes, so we played up until the laboratory boss fight, which brings me over to Kriss.
Yeah.
What happened in this game?
Well, I gotta say, I was actually quite shocked at how relatively easy it was for me to get through it. I know you talk about, you were watching my stream earlier and it was hard to watch. That's, spoiler for anyone who doesn't know, that's all my games. Any game that you watch me play is hard to watch. But I was quite impressed with myself or the game or both. Never had to look at a walkthrough once. Never had to look anything up. Never had to Google anything. It was all pretty intuitive. The codec calls all made sense. Like, they were fairly straightforward with their hints and everything like that. It wasn't, you didn't have to guess. You didn't have to, like, do I have to go around punching walls? Do I have to do this? Like, at least not yet anyway. I don't know if that comes later in the game. I'm sure it will. But the first third, and I think I had mentioned this to you, Noise, like, I beat the first boss, and I was like, wait, that was it? Like, that was the boss? Like, I thought it was just like a mini boss or something. And before I knew it, I was at the second boss, and then, like, that took me a little while to figure out how to beat, and got past that, and then I got to the third boss, and I was like, this is it? Like, what? Because I think I was done, like, within, I think, 3 days, 2 or 3 days or something, and I was like, what? No, there's no way that was it. What did I miss? Like, and then, yeah, you guys had challenged me to go back and try it on hard mode, and so I tried that, and of course, you got to witness all of that. But yeah, it was a good experience. It was significantly easier gameplay and everything than the first two in more ways than one. I think the only thing that really kind of got me hung up was like, if you're going along a wall, or if you're, like, going down towards a wall and you're too close to a corner, he'll just automatically hug onto the wall. It's like, no, I don't want you to do that. Just keep moving, you know. I think that was the only thing as far as, like, controls and ease of access or whatever you want to call it that I had any sort of issue with. But even that, it wasn't too bad. Just, you know, stay decent ways to live away from walls. Otherwise, like it had pointed out in the trailers, and it took me a while to remember that, the sneaking into the camera thing. And it's like, oh yeah, I can hung up against the wall and not have to worry about the camera seeing me. And because I remember there was a couple items in some spots where, like, there was good camera coverage pretty much constantly. I was like, how am I supposed to get to that? And then I remember that from the trailer. I was like, oh yeah, I can hug the wall. And I tried it and it worked. And I was like, cool. But yeah, overall, it was a awesome experience. I enjoyed the game very much. I can see why this is what made it popular in the U.S. because it was much more playable, I think, in my opinion, than or user friendly, I should say, than some of the previous games. So,
what did you think about the menu, the item menus?
That was interesting. That it took me a bit to get used to that, but I think because I've played Monster Hunter, I was kind of used to it already, so it wasn't that much of a learning curve for me.
It wasn't like foreign, because you're right. You cycle through items by
Yeah. So, but I think if it wasn't for that, it would have taken me a bit like, wait, how does this work? To, you know, because you press up and it goes to the right, and you press down, it goes to the left. So that took a bit for me to catch on to.
You could just do left and right or up and down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you do the tactical reload, Kriss?
I don't know what that is, so I'm guessing no.
That's what we're saying. Like, there's so much into this game. I mean, I would love that even once we finish playing it, maybe it stays part of you and you play it again, rebeat it or something like that. There's hundreds of codec calls and Easter eggs and stuff to see and hear and find. But the tactical reload, it doesn't help too much in this game, in my opinion. But if you have your SOCOM, for example, and you shot 3 bullets, R1, if you tap it, it unequips it, and you tap it again, it re-equips it with full ammo.
Oh, okay.
So that's called the tactical reload, and
gotcha.
It comes in handy. I'll tell you that much. But you know, I do agree with you. I know I've beaten this game like crazy back in the day, and it makes me laugh. I beat it like my first sit through. I think you did too, Noise. You know, and I was like, man, this took me like a month to beat, but not back when I was a kid. And it just boggles me that I'm like you said, Kriss, I'm like, I'm already at the lab. I'm like, damn. Like, I could have sworn this took me like a week and a half last time, you know, when I played when I was a kid. But as a kid, we were dumber, and I probably was getting caught a lot too, you know. So, but I didn't have any problems. I did have a few problems. I won't lie. There was a few times I kept thinking like more current gen AI. So I kept thinking I was going to get caught when I clearly know the Metal Gear Solid 1's AI is a little dumber, let's just say, than some of the future stuff. Because you got the cone of vision, and you can literally be just outside the cone of vision, and they won't see you. You know, they'll just walk right by you. So you know, I kind of got caught a few times just because I was forced to habit. I was playing, you know, like if they were smarter soldiers than they really were. But yeah, I was gonna ask you, like, any troubles with Revolver Ocelot? What did you think of his little boss fight? Because you're right, you mention it. It does feel like a mini fight, really, a boss fight, mini boss.
So I wouldn't say I had trouble with him. It was more the mechanics, I guess, that I had issue with. Because, like, I remember in the very beginning when you break out of that one guy's jail cell, the DARPA agent or DARPA president
Chief.
or whatever. Chief, yeah. You have that little thing where the guards come in 3 at a time and you have to shoot them. And my experience with that was, the game auto aims for you. So it's like, cool. It auto aims. I don't have to worry about like manually aiming. And between that and fighting Ocelot, I didn't shoot anyone. I just, if alert went off, I would punch him and run off, or like try to hide, or climb up the ladder or whatever. So between those two fights, I never shot anyone. And then when I got to Ocelot, I was like, he's running around, but my thing will auto aim. So I would press square and shoot, and he wouldn't take any damage. And I was like, what? And so I would shoot multiple times, and one of them would hit. And then I like the first few fights, I made the mistake of like basically unloading a whole clip on him, because like, he's stuck there, I'll hit him. But he has that immunity or invulnerability. So I was like, okay, don't do that. And then I would go around, collecting the ammo or whatever. And I remember one of the times I went to collect that little piece of ammo right by those tripwires. And I set it off, and I was like, no, you got to be kidding me. So I thought that ammo was set there for a trap. And I was like, okay, so I can't use that ammo. So I went and collected the other 2 pieces of ammo, and then I eventually ran out of that. And so I was like, I have to get that ammo. There's got to be a way. Why would they put it there? And so I moved in real careful, like, and got it, and I went out real careful again, too. And then in that same fight where I got that piece of ammo, I shot through those wires and set off the C4 again. So I was like, okay, that's good attention to detail, but that kind of sucks, too, But I think it was, and my original playthrough was on normal, and I think it took me 4 rounds to get through it. I beat him on the 4th one, I think, maybe the 5th. But it wasn't terrible. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be,
Jesse beat you on that. It only took her 3 tries.
I'm not surprised.
Did Kriss, a quick question actually, have you been using the joystick or the D-pad?
A little bit of both. For movement, like when I'm moving around the map, I usually use the D-pad. Joystick, I try not to use too much, but by force of habit, because of more modern games, I think I use it a little more than I probably should.
Okay.
But yeah, I generally try to use the D-pad just because it's a little more...
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Noise, but I believe this game was originally only playable with the D-pad, correct?
It did release before the DualShock, I believe.
I'm confidently sure it was. So I've been playing with D-pad pretty much like 95% of the time. There was a few times, like you said, out of force of habit, I would start using joystick. I'm like, oh, no. And I think it makes a difference when you're playing games that weren't designed with joystick in mind. Every now and then I'll be playing emulators or whatever, or even games that have been ported over to the Switch that were made with the D-pad in mind, and I'm always like, nope, use the D-pad because that's what it was built with in mind. So
yeah,
I think it does make a difference when you play them. And Noise, what I confused again? I've been confused for a minute with this game. What version is Kriss playing?
Kriss is playing the original USA version. He's not playing
PlayStation.
On PlayStation, yes.
Okay.
He's not playing Integral. He's not playing Master
or HD or none of that. Okay.
Yeah.
So Kriss got the blurred out, knocked out guard.
Yes.
Yes.
I specifically chose that version because I wanted him to see the pixelated butt.
Yeah, good.
Because I told him in future versions, I think from the PC version on, he's wearing underwear, which I feel like that takes away from the joke because it's just funnier with the blurred pixels.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw that, back in 1990, whatever, 9 or something. And I was like, what the fuck? I was
right,
like,
you like gasp. You're like,
what the hell?
It's like when you read the word shit when Barrett says it in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Like, oh my, what am I? Should my parents see me playing this?
I know, right? I know. No, that's good. I'm glad you gave him that version because definitely I will bring up some differences later on. And I don't know, what version are you playing, Noise?
So originally beat it with the USA version.
Okay.
And then I started speedrunning it. And then I remembered that the integral version, which is the Japanese version, that one lets you skip that cutscene at the end that's unskippable. I don't know if you know which one I'm talking about. The monologue, one that you can't skip normally. So that helps with the speed run. And also you can you can play the game in first person in Integral, but I've never done it, and I forget by the time I beat the game. I'm like, oh wait, I could do that.
Yeah. You have to beat it once, right? And then you can play it in first person, I think.
Oh, maybe that's why.
Yeah. Yeah, when I read that too, I'm like, I wanted. Yeah, you got to beat it once. But
on the PC one, I think you can aim and shoot right off the bat.
But in Integral, the Integral version you're playing, it's the Japanese, the PlayStation 1 version, right? It's not the HD or nothing. Okay.
All the dialogue is still in English, oddly enough. Mm-hmm. But the even if you put the language in English on captions I think that's all it has. The subtitles in the codec or in the cutscenes, I forget which one, they're still in Japanese for some reason.
Yeah. Hey, you know what?
Things are in English.
I guess this is Kojima did it first. Konami did it first. This kind of reminds me of Kingdom Hearts, like the final mixes that, when they make the final mixes for Japan, it's all English voice, and then they put Japanese dub on it.
So that makes me wonder if they ever did really do a Japanese dub
for Metal Gear 1.
Yeah, like was Akio Otsuka Solid Snake since then, or did he come in with Metal Gear Solid 2?
You know what? That's so funny. We should look into that. But yeah, so like I said, we will. I want to talk about these differences because I'm playing the Master Collection.
How'd you like those blurred pixels?
Well, yeah, I know there's differences between the re-releases and the original, but I have a feeling that even this Master Collection has differences compared to those ones. But we'll get to those when we get there.
Yeah, as far as I know, I don't think there are any except the fact that...
Any new ones?
Yeah, I don't think they changed anything. I think it's just that they put a filter on the pixels so that they're softened up. Mm-hmm. And I think that's... Oh, did you notice why... Did you play with joystick at all?
I did a little bit. Like I said, very little, but yeah. Why?
Did you notice that it wasn't working?
No, joystick worked for me.
Right, it's working, but it's only giving you 8 directions.
Really?
It's not doing analog directions, so it's not 360 degrees.
Okay.
Like if you go up left and maybe a little bit down, you're still going to be doing 45 degrees in up left.
Okay, I could see that.
So that's another reason Master Collection sucks. They didn't even put the effort into actually turning on analog. They just supported analog controllers, but it's because like when you played on PS1 or PS2, even on PS3, like PS1 and PS2 had that analog button on the controller for you to turn on analog. Mm-hmm. Remember on DualShock? Mm-hmm. And then PS3, you had to go into the menu and turn on. You had to switch from digital to analog controller, and then it would work.
But would it work? See, that my question is. The game was designed with D-pad in mind, which would only support up and right, like per se, that 45-degree angle.
The thing is, I think it was being developed around the same time, and Kojima had access.
Okay.
Because the code does give you 360 degrees
does
of
movement.
Okay. Which is, it's way better for speedrunning, right? Because instead of moving in 45-degree angles, you can actually curve and get like milliseconds of time moving quicker that way. And then other times, that's what I would do. Like the Ocelot fight, for example, I would use the D-pad for that because it's more precise going around those corners. You know what I mean? You go around those corners and you get an instant like, ooh, my laser is right on Ocelot. I can shoot now before he jumps around that corner. If you do that on analog, you're going to be off by like 4 or 5 degrees and you're not going to be able to shoot him. So in certain fights like that one, and I don't really think there's other ones that really ask you for that kind of precision, but the D-pad for sure on Ocelot is, I think that's necessary. Analog is kind of weird on that fight.
So did you just kind of wait, Kriss and Noise, for Ocelot? You just run around and wait for Ocelot to waste his ammo? Or how did you guys take on this fight? Luis, I know you were doing some speed strats. So what did you do?
So I do what I normally do, which is, it's something I suggested to Kriss, but I know he forgot it because I watched him fight Ocelot again today. Also, it tells you in the manual that I sent to you. I gave it to you for a reason.
Yep.
Not just because it tells you like some things that the game doesn't tell you, right? Like remember those videos on YouTube, like things that the game doesn't tell you. This game does in the manual, but the run and gun, which is really important. I didn't know about the run and gun, even though I had the game, and I guess I didn't pay attention to the manual. I was, at the time I was just looking at the art and I was like, this is amazing. Like, look at that. I've never seen art like this before, like we'll dive into Yoji Shinkawa's art also. He's just a genius. Like, he defined a generation of anime and 3D art mixing together. But the run and gun strategy is the normal way to go. That's the only way to do it in speed strats anyway. You kind of have to push him in directions to get him to kind of stop at the right corner.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you just chase him, anything above normal mode, like if hard or extreme, he'll just keep running, and he is faster than you.
He's faster
on hard. I think he's as fast as you, but on extreme, he is fucking sprinting. You are not going to catch up to him if you're going to run around him in a circle. So you basically have to like lure him, or you have to push him in a certain way and then turn around and then try to get him through the other, through a blind spot or something, like from behind.
Okay.
That's the only way to do it, like on extreme and hard. But like German was mentioning, which I kind of forgot because I haven't done this since maybe the first years of me playing Metal Gear Solid, was that you do just wait for him to deplete his 6 rounds, and then he's like sitting there reloading, and you can run up behind him and get a free shot.
And then you can kind of chase him after that for a few shots. And like you said, if you get the right rhythm, at least on normal and stuff, you can chase him all the way through.
Yeah, like you can shoot him, and then usually I do like a little circle.
Yeah, a little baby circle. And then,
a little baby circle, shoot him again, baby circle. Like I wait until he stops blinking because those are his iframes.
Yep.
And yeah, like I was like screaming at your stream, Kriss, as you were like unloading on Revolver. And I was like, you already shot him. You've already hit him once. Stop shooting.
So I did a strat that I had, and I'm not claiming that I developed it, nothing like that, but that I learned on Twin Snakes. And I thought it was funny. And I didn't know if it worked for these because, like I said, I played the hell out of this one, and then the hell out of 2, and then I played Twin Snakes enough. You can actually just press up against one of the pillars, and I think it's so funny because it goes into the camera mode where that looks behind you, if you will. And he's like, "Oh, hiding from me won't help you," and he shoots a bullet. And the way the game programs his AI, or whatever you want to call it, is he's aiming at your head. So as soon as he shoots, you just crouch down, and the bullet will always just hit right above your head.
Huh.
And then you stand up, and he shoots again. You crouch, and it just hits right above your head. And on the 6th shot, then you start chasing him. And I always love doing that. And I was like, I wonder if it works for this one. And it does. You can still crouch and dodge his bullets that way.
Okay.
Give that a shot. It's fun to do that. So just based on your sound, Kriss, or your comments, Kriss had fun with Ocelot. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
What did you think of the ninja, Kriss?
Wait. Hold on. You just skipped the boss.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
No. Well, ninja comes in on Ocelot.
Nope.
That's your. Yeah, he does.
No, he does not.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't. Okay. So
does.
Hold on. So after Ocelot, by the way, we're just gonna do gameplay right now, and then we'll talk story.
Okay.
Just because that's kind of what we're doing right now.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So after that, the Arms Tech president, Kenneth Baker, tells you that you need to get a hold of Meryl, right? Well, he doesn't say. Does he say her name?
I don't know. Good question. I don't know if he says her name.
He did.
Okay. Anyway, so get a hold of her, and he says that the frequency is in the back of the CD case.
Mm-hmm.
Did this stump you at all, or were you kind of like trained by the previous Metal Gears to think outside of the game, so to speak, because it's not just outside of the box, you literally have to think outside of the game?
Yeah, so my initial thought was, because he hands you that disc, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
my initial thought was there must be some way to examine that item,
Like
and
Resident
look at
Evil,
the back
right?
of it. Yeah, and look at the back of it and get it. Once I saw that item wasn't in my inventory, then I was like, oh, he meant the actual back of the CD case the game came in. So
Is it not in your inventory?
I didn't see it in there.
The optical disc?
Yeah. It's in your items.
Yeah,
Is
that's what
it?
I thought. Yeah.
Oh, I must have missed it. Okay.
No, the optical disc. Yeah. It's not the game case, but the optical
No,
disc.
yeah. Okay.
Which I'm kind of.
What if the game case was in your
That is funny.
inventory? That would be fucking awesome.
which kind of jumping a tiny bit. That item is completely freaking useless. It doesn't.
It just takes up a spot. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry. Uh-huh.
But yeah, so my initial thought was not the back of the actual CD case the game came in, but it was a secondary thought. It was the next one. So yeah, because I could have sworn that my item wasn't in my inventory. I must have missed it or something. Wouldn't be the first time. It won't be the last. But yeah, that's when I had messaged you like, oh, is it on the back of the CD case? And I wasn't looking for you to tell me like where it was. I was just looking like, if it is, tell me yes. If not, tell me no. Don't tell me where it is. Just, I'm just curious if that's where it is. And that's when you sent me the file over Discord.
Yeah, I sent you the game manual because not a lot of people seem to mention this, which blows my mind. But the game manual has the frequency inside also. There's a section that has codec frequencies for like the crew pretty much. So it's got Campbell, it's got Mei Ling, it's got Master Miller, Nastasha Romanenko, and I think that's it. Then Meryl, which is weird that it's just like right there.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, so Kriss didn't actually, that's why I sent him the manual. I was like, go ahead and look through the manual, whatever, if you want. And I kind of let him kind of sit on that to see if he was going to ask anything further. And then I think he said something else, and I was like, there is a spot that says codec frequencies.
Yeah. Well, what I had initially thought was like, oh, I'm looking for a picture of the back of the CD case because that's where the thing is.
Right.
And so I kind of glanced through. I didn't want to read too much of it because I didn't know if it contained spoilers. I figured it probably didn't because you had just sent it to me, and I figured like you would have found some way to cut out any spoilers or whatever that I don't need to know until later or something like that. But I didn't want to like read something and like put something together and like, oh, that's what this is, or that's who the big boss is, or anything like that. So I just like, I'm just going to glance through, see what I can find. And I didn't see anything like, this is what it looks like. And I had actually, I did do an image search of the back of the CD case, and I saw where it was. And I'm like, okay, so I'm looking through this manual for that. And I'm like, I don't see it. And that's when I had messaged you again, like, I don't see it on here. Where's the back of the case? And you're like, no, it's in there, stupid. I was like, oh, right, okay. For everyone who doesn't know, he didn't actually call me stupid. That was just...
I was just thinking it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's so rare that I see that mentioned, which shows how many people didn't actually read through the manual, which is nuts, because even like Metal Gear veterans don't mention that it's in the manual, and I'm like, really? Like, you should definitely know this. Like, it's in there. And the game does not have any spoilers whatsoever, except for maybe the part where you get to the glossary at the end when it's like defining what terms, like what is DARPA, what is arms tech. Okay. There are a couple definitions there that are like, this should be left for the game to explain to you. But other than that, like, there's no spoilers in that manual whatsoever. Like,
okay,
it teaches you the run and gun. It's like hold square and then hold X at the same time, and then you can run. And then by letting go of square and tapping square while still holding X, then you can shoot while you're running. Because the Ocelot fight, without that, you have to sneak up behind him while he's reloading.
Oh yeah,
and then shoot.
Definitely didn't know with a running gun. My first, second, I don't think I learned that until that way later. Until I was like just mashing buttons. Like, oh shit, you can run with your gun.
I didn't learn that until I was actually playing on Extreme, because I was like, dude, even if I catch up to him, he reloads so fast that I can't get a shot off. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, there has to be. I mean, this is impossible. And yeah, like, I don't know if I read in the manual or talking with friends, but I learned the running gun from something, and I was like, this changes this fight completely. Like, he just becomes easy mode. Like, even on Extreme, like, as long as you don't let him shoot you, which, by the way, he ricochets bullets. He's a fucking gun, he's
master.
He's a master gun
gunner, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the word is, but
he's a master gun.
Hold on.
He's from Wanted. He can curve the bullets.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He's bashed to Stampede. Hey, he's Western. I don't know if anyone knows that. Try gun.
Gunslinger. That's the word.
There you go. Oh, there you go. Gunslinger. Master gunslinger. Yes. I took down some notes. I don't know what half of them pertain to anymore because I literally wrote down like 2 words. But there is one. Nice. One that I did want to touch on base on is when we're talking about controllers and game and stuff. And god damn it, I forgot, and I hate and I miss I call it the Japanese scheme controller setup where circle is enter and X is back. And I remember back in the day it drove me crazy, and it drives me crazy here because I'm playing it's technically, I guess, an emulation version of it, right?
Yeah. I
had to use American style to select the game, but then when I select the game, I had to switch to Japanese style. And I'm constantly like, no, like, get out of options and go back. And then I'm in the game and I push X. I'm like, no, I'm like, I want you. And the codec calls. I'm like, damn it, I wanted to send the call, not close the codec. I was just getting so frustrated. And I was like, I remember the first time going through this where I'm just trying to tell myself, circle is center, circle is center, circle is center.
You know what's weird is I think it was just last year that Japan changed the standard of that.
Did they?
They Americanized it. Yeah, they're like, okay, now we're gonna make X B okay and Circle B cancel on all future games. Like I remember it was some kind of announcement, and I was like, why? Like, who cares? Like,
yeah.
I mean, I know it fucks you up, German, but like, a switch happens in my brain once I know what game I'm in, and I'm just like, this is the controller scheme now in my head. That's why I always give you shit when you're like, you know, you have your
I can't customize it or whatever.
Yeah, so you have your scuff, and you're like, I just want to play, you know, with the extra buttons in the back paddle, and I get that, having extra buttons and everything. But I think I'm just like a controller purist, like obnoxiously, and I'm just like, hey man, if you can't play with the default controller, you suck, you know. But
no, I don't use the scuff,
but then I think the same way. I don't think the same way with keyboard and mouse. You know, I'm like, oh, I should be able to customize every fucking key that I want. Like, why can't I? You know. And that does drive me nuts in some games with the controller, where it's like, here's a controller scheme instead of map the controls however you want in game. Yeah. Like if the game lets you map them out, then I'm like, cool, do whatever you want.
But when it's like A, style B, style C, you know, and
this game does that. If you go in the options, there's like 3 styles, which I've never changed them. I probably should maybe this next week when I'm playing again. I'm going to see what the other control schemes are like now that we're talking about them. But like, what even are those other schemes? Like, what is the game going to feel like changing all that?
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So you found the code in the manual or in the picture that you found online?
I saw it on the manual, but I didn't like use that information, so I actually looked at the in the manual. I'm sorry, I saw it in the picture I saw online. Did I say that?
You said you looked up a picture, but you were like, why did I send you the manual? So you were looking.
Yeah, so I looked up a picture to see like, is it hidden somewhere? Like, because that's what I half expected, was like it's in the middle of like some other text or something, like the copyright date or something, like, and it happens to be like hidden in there. So I was like, where is it? Where, like, I'm not seeing it immediately. And so I looked up a picture to see like where it was, and it had like circled and zoomed in where it was. And I was like, no, that's not hidden anywhere. And I went back to the thing you had sent me, and I was like, it's not here. But then once you told me like it's listed in there, like in the Codec Calls area, it's like, oh, okay. So that's where I actually got the information.
Oh, okay.
Like I saw where it was. I didn't like look to see what the actual frequency was until I looked through the manual.
I'm glad the game has you overanalyzing things, because that is not the wrong way to approach this entire series.
Yeah.
I mean, the Metal Gear Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake definitely trained you with that, with the whole, Marv's codec frequency, it's upside down or some shit. Like that was definitely something that I wouldn't have thought that game back in the day would do.
Yeah. I remember that part, and I was like, oh, this is just like the Merrill thing.
Yeah, literally, but like way more obscure. Like, the Merrill thing is just like they're telling you, but your brain is like the thing you just gave me. And the weird thing is that he says the frequencies on the back of the CD case before he hands you the optical disc. And that's the big clue, is that it's at that point your brain should already be like, of the game, but your brain doesn't do that. You kind of go like, what CD case? And then later he hands you an optical disc, and you're like, oh, this must be the thing he's talking about. But I feel like that's everybody's train of thought. That's just, it's natural. It's like, what is he talking about? Oh, this thing he just handed me.
Yeah, and then you spent hours trying to equip it and unequip it. And
how do I look at this thing? And it's in the era of Resident Evil, so like you want to like, there's got to be an examine button somewhere.
You know, speaking of Resident Evil, I don't know if it's the limitations of the PlayStation, or if, I know it's 2 different companies, Capcom and Konami.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of like art sets or whatever, your background drops and all that stuff. The ape just screams Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Just the textures, and I'm like, God damn, like, is this the same person that made these games or what, man?
Yeah.
Just like I said, I just felt, again, maybe PlayStation graphics, but I was like, this looks like Resident Evil, so
yeah, and especially some I don't think they happen this early in the game, but later on in the game there's some camera angles that are like very Resident Evil cinematic type of camera angles, where you're like, oh, okay, that's a cool camera position. It like totally makes me think of Resident Evil, because those are static, they're not real 3D environments, they're just pre-rendered and there's 3D geometry that makes it look like you're walking on these pictures pretty much. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so you called Meryl, flirt with her a bit, then first you sweep her off her feet and then bring her right back down. You know, you're misogynistic and then immediately patronizing to her.
Yeah.
Did you so when you went back into the tanker hangar, is that what it's called? Yeah, the tanker hangar or tank hangar. I'm guessing you found the box because you found it in this stream that you were playing earlier.
Yeah.
Did you quick question. How did you get into the tank hangar? Did you go the vent on the second floor or on the vent on the first floor?
Originally, I went to the first floor. I think it was the first. Yeah, pretty sure it was the first floor.
Right by the camera?
Yeah. And then I came out, and I think one of the guards had spotted me, like, immediately. So I went back in, and then went back up to the second floor and came out there.
Okay. So, quick thing. If you go through the bottom vent, I think... I'm wondering if Kojima was doing a quick little reference to Snake's Revenge.
With the underwater part?
Yes, with the underwater part. I was like, I got flashbacks of Snake's Revenge. I was like, holy shit, I would have, if I'd never played this game, of course I never would have like this immediate, like, I don't like this. But, yeah. And then I think Colonel Campbell or Miller tells you, like, follow the rats.
Get Miller, I believe.
Is it Miller? Yeah. So if you call Miller after you call him the first time, or after he calls you, he'll tell you that. He's like, follow the rats. Like, they'll probably lead you to the right way out and whatever.
Yeah. Hold on, touching base on Miller or Codec Calls. I forgot, and I like that important Codec Calls are forced on you.
Yes.
Because playing all these last 4 games, there's very important Codec Calls that if especially Snake's Revenge, if you weren't standing on the right fucking pixels, you couldn't pick up those goddamn calls. So it was very annoying. And on this one, I remembered kind of going into it, and then when you get that first like force one, you're like, oh yeah, that's right. When it's story related or important, like Snake will automatically pick it up. That's cool. I remember that.
Yeah.
And I think it is funny that water, I went through there myself, and because that's the way I always go. It hit me like that's the only part that has water. There's no other freaking vents or that has water. So I keep forgetting Kriss hasn't played the full game, so I got to be careful not to spoil a lot. But
it's a very Metal Gear thing. There's a lot of one-offs. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that you only do once. Normal video games don't do that. They're like, here's a mechanic we're going to teach you that you're going to use later in the game.
Yeah, and then you use it for a boss, and then going forward, you'll use it to unlock more shit. Like,
but Metal Gear's like, here's, you're going to do this once, and then you'll never think about it again. And it's like,
we're going to teach you how to use Nikita missiles, and then that's it.
Yeah, you'll never use them again. So, but if you go through the second vent, the second floor vent, a certain door opens actually in the tank hangar. It does not open if you go through the first floor. So on the second floor, there are 2 doors. There is the top right door, which you can't get in until you get level 2 card. And then there's another door that has no level key cards. So it only opens if you go through that vent on the second floor, and in there you get the thermal goggles. Did you find those, Kriss?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, so lucky you decided to go back up through the second floor because that's the only way to get them at that point in the game. I think you get them later, right?
Because that's the room where you go in and there's there's just a camera in there, right?
Yeah, and there's like crates.
Yeah, I found that. Yep, I remember that.
Okay, so you called Meryl. How'd you fare in the? Oh wait, sorry. And then there's also, did you find the suppressor on the first floor?
Yes. That was the one that was like in the center of the. No, that was ammunition. I think it was because there's that like helipad in the center, and there's the searchlights. Was that where the suppressor was?
No,
that's outside.
That's chaffs, isn't it, or stun grenades? One or the other.
Outside is the chaffs. Yeah. The gun is in the truck, and then the first stun grenades are in the first room. That it's like surveillance camera.
Oh, that You use chaffs to get that one. That's right.
Yeah.
You don't know how to get that without the chaffs?
You sneak by it, right?
Yeah, you can just press against the what's it called? The container. But yeah, suppressor is still inside the same tank hangar, but it's in the first floor in the right next to where the lasers are to the right.
Oh yeah, okay.
And there's just one dude there, and if you haven't alerted anybody, he's asleep.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He
I didn't
feels
get that.
asleep.
I won't lie. I didn't. Yeah, he feels asleep. I didn't get that until way later because I was just kind of.
Yeah, like he was always awake for me. Yeah, first time I was like, this guy fucking never. Well, how do I get by this guy?
Yeah, no, because like I said, for me, I wasn't exploring because I didn't want to explore because I didn't need to explore. I knew where to go. I know what I need, and suppressor's not an item you need, technically, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, yep, I got to get Nikita's. Yep, I got to get, C4. It's just, once I got the item I need, I just kept going. And it wasn't until like later in the game when you had to go backwards. And I was kind of like, oh, I'm going to go open all the doors that didn't open up. And I was like, oh, well, there's the fucking thermal. Oh, there's the fucking suppressor. I'm like, oh, there's the cardboard box. Too late now. I don't fucking need it.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Kriss, did you find all the walls that you can explode?
I think so, because I remember today when I was playing, I tried to get them all, because there's the room you open up to go to Ocelot, and to the right of that, there was another one you could explode.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I had set a C4 down there as well, and I don't know if it was game limitations or if it glitched or what, but I set one down by the one by where Ocelot was, and I set one down by the wall to the right, thinking, okay, I can explode them both at the same time. But it only did the one for Ocelot, and then I was out of C4.
Oh, yeah, I did hear you say that, yeah.
But yeah, I've been in there, and I think that was the room where the machine guns or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the auto turrets.
Yeah, and so that took me a while to get through and figure out and everything. I don't remember if I went back with card 2 to look through there or later. I don't think I did.
So I won't say that there is or isn't more walls beyond that.
Okay.
But maybe there is.
I will keep an eye out now.
How did you fare in the gas room?
That was a little more difficult for me just because, like, at first I was like, I don't have a gas mask. And so I like backtracked everywhere I'd gone before, looking like, did I miss it? Did I skip over it somehow? Like, where is it? And I could not find it. And so I was like, well, I'll just try to just push my way through, and the gas mask was in there. I was like, you got to be kidding me. What?
Wait, what?
Yeah. The gas mask was in the, that first room on the right, I think it was. So, yeah, you used the Nikita.
Oh, wait. So, sorry. Not that gas room. Sorry. The laser room.
Oh, the laser room. Yeah. So that tripped me up at first. And actually, it happened again today, too. The first laser room I came across was basement floor 2.
Oh, right, where you get the FAMAS.
Yeah. So I walked in there, and I saw the red, and I didn't think anything of it. And I go through, and it's like, alert. And I was like, what alerted? And then I was like, oh, there's probably lasers there or something. And so I think I probably ended up dying or ran out or something. And I came back, and I was like, oh, wait, I have my those goggles to see lasers. So I put those on, and sure enough, it shows them. So I said, oh, it's like midway, so I'll crawl under it. And did that, got the weapon and the ammo, and crawled back out. And then, there's that second room. And I remember you get the codec call as you go in. But I had stepped like one step too far when the codec call came in. And I was like, oh, I'll answer that. And then, of course, it alerted. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I ran out and I got shot and everything, of course. And then the second time I went in there.
Were you able to get out in time?
No, I died.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I was like, that door closes. Like, there's no way to get out of there.
They gassed me and I died. Yeah. So, the second time I went in, I was like, okay, go real slow, just like in Solid Snake, when you go in those rooms and the puddle of acid is right there. I was like, okay, walk in slowly, take your time. As soon as the codec call comes in, answer it. And then he's like, oh, there's lasers here. You have to, dodge them or whatever. So I was like, okay. So I put on the goggles, and it still took me a few times to get past it, to get the timing right and everything.
Because his perspective is a little weird, right? It's hard to tell if it's up or down, but yeah, you have to look pretty closely.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. Because I remember one of them was like, I had waited too long at one point, and it was coming back down and caught me. And then one time I went too soon, and I had tripped it just with my head or whatever. And I was like, dang it. But it didn't take me too long. I think it was 3 tries or something, 3 or 4 tries.
Okay.
Before I was able to get through that. So yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, when I used to go through that room, I didn't know about the thermals, because I went through the bottom before I learned about the thermals and stuff, and I would crawl. And it works because your hitbox is only so it doesn't, it's your legs aren't part of your hitbox for some reason, so you're able to just kind of do it. And I was always scared of that room. I was just like, I can't get through this the right way and whatever.
And you didn't use cigarettes back then?
Well, yeah, but that's the only way I could do it because I didn't know.
Oh, you would crawl with the cigarettes?
Yeah, I would crawl with the cigarettes. Yeah. Mm-mm. And then when I started learning about the thermals, I would use the thermals. But then, like you said, the perspective kind of fucks with you, and you're like, which one is in front of me? Which one's behind me?
Or which one's moving up and which one's moving down sometimes.
Yeah,
So I thought you were. I wanted to just touch. I thought you were just crawling and just freaking getting lucky.
Oh man,
I was like, damn, dude.
That'd be insane. No, you definitely trip them if you crawl and you hit them.
Yeah.
But I've found the best strategy is cigarettes and just walking, because you can see which one's in front of you. It ignores the one behind you.
But yeah, it didn't take me too long to get through that. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, because nowadays if I use the thermals, it still fucks with me.
Definitely caught me off guard the first time. Like I said, when I tripped the alarms, I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
Because I was just a pixel too far when I answered that codec call and it had already tripped. I was like, oh, okay, I'm dead.
Who calls you? Remind me. Is it, I don't want to spoil nothing, but I won't spoil anything.
I don't remember.
It's not Natasha, is it? Well, I'm not spoiling anything. Is it Deep Throat who calls you?
I honestly don't remember.
What's crazy is like, me and Luis are supposed to be experts here and stuff, but it's kind of like, we kind of just, at least I just kind of go through it because I know where to go and what to do, but I'm like, details that I take for granted, I kind of forget. That's why I'm like, who the fuck calls you? I want to say,
I think,
it can't be Deep Throat because I think he calls you in the next the next door with the mines.
Yeah, I think Luis might have been disconnected. His thing on the V-band is not green anymore.
Yeah, I think he's probably mute for now or something.
Maybe. But yeah, no, it was interesting. Like I said, the first time I went through and I was just a pixel too far and I tripped it and I was like, crap. And then I remember answering that call afterwards and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It was interesting. I liked having little things like that where it's like, well, like you had said too, like it's nice that they're doing important calls to you instead of like, nope, we're going to make you try to figure out who to call and when to call them and all that kind of stuff. It's like, okay, that's a quality of life improvement that I think was desperately needed.
Yeah. Well, like you said, because even in the other game, like you would get those calls. You'd be like, codec call, whatever the fuck you would show. And like I said, if you didn't push it in time, or if you moved a few pixels over, you couldn't pick up the call anymore. And I remember just getting annoyed with that back in the day. I wanted to just talk about though, unless I'm wrong, and the ninja does come out during Ocelot.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, because there's that invisible guy that like cuts off his hand, yeah.
Oh, does he not reveal himself to be a ninja there?
I don't think so. Does he?
I could swear he takes off his camo and then Ocelot says like, it can't be, like, or what are you doing here or something like that. And then
no, because he asked the one guy, he's like, who is that? What was he doing? And he's like, you don't know? And then he like, I think that's when he starts to die or something, or I don't know. I just played it earlier today, so I should know, but I do not remember.
I can swear that he freaking takes off his camo and reveals himself like, doesn't tell you who he is or nothing like that. Just you see him. That's what I'm trying to get at.
I think it shows like a vague outline of him, but I don't think it's like he reveals himself.
Really? Okay.
Like
so
that, yeah.
Really? Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna have to look this up now because I must be having Mandela effect. Because I can swear. Hopefully it doesn't blast you right now with the volume. Come in, blah blah blah. No, yeah. He freaking you kill fucking ninja. My modem is unreachable in scope. Ooh, damn.
I'm guessing that's a Comcast thing?
No, that's a Spectrum thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some probably system issue or something.
Gonna reboot it. Okay.
Hello.
Hey.
Welcome back.
Son of a bitch.
Just flipped out, huh?
I was fucking talking to myself like I'm hearing German saying these things and I'm like, no, it's Meryl. Meryl is the one who's calling on the codec.
On where?
In the laser room.
Did she call us the first time?
Yes. She calls in the laser room. Nothing just happened, guys. Don't even worry about it. Audience.
Yeah.
Literally. We'll edit this out.
Cable guy had cable problems. Cyborg Ninja calls once you get through the laser room to warn you about the claymores.
Yeah, he calls you for the claymores.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I vaguely remember that. Okay.
So I don't remember how much further you guys were talking. I was trying to deal with other shit. That codec call, did it at all sound weird to you? Like he was calling himself Deep Throat and shit?
Weird as in how? Are you talking to me or Kriss or both?
Kriss, because I know you know what's going on.
Okay.
Not really. It sort of reminded me of from the second game, Solid Snake, of I'm your biggest fan. So I think that's kind of what came to mind, was that there's someone on the inside who is a quote-unquote enemy, but they're also trying to help me in some way.
Oh, okay.
But otherwise, it didn't really set off any alarms per se.
Gotcha.
So
okay, so a foe, but possibly also a friend.
Yeah, similar to Gray Fox and
Gotcha.
Solid Snake. Yeah.
Okay. So here is the second boss, German.
Mm-hmm.
This is the next boss. You were already skipping on to.
But no, I wasn't skipping. Okay, hold on. Let me just touch base real quick.
Yeah.
I wasn't talking about the boss fight. I was talking about the fact that Boss Lock gets his hand chopped off by this entity. That's all I was just talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's what I was thinking too. I was like, he didn't skip a boss fight, did he? Like, I know I fight him later.
I literally thought you were jumping to the last fight that Kriss has had in the lab. That's why I was like, what? We're literally skipping over a boss?
No. Because and that's not wrong. But I'm literally watching the cutscene here on YouTube. There is a face reveal. So unless the HD version does it and the other ones don't, I don't know.
No, there is no face reveal. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay, not face. I'm sorry. Decamo, an uncamoed ninja.
Okay,
like
okay.
you just my question to Kriss was the first impressions of like this freaking
robot
cool looking
thing.
Yeah. That's all what it was. I wasn't like
Yeah.
gonna talk about who or what he is, but nonetheless, as Meryl calls you're right. She tells you, Snake, be careful. There's some laser, some bullshit like that. And then right after that, you get that call from Deep Throat. Can I say something about Deep Throat that's not spoiler? It's just a trivia, at least in my opinion.
From the Watergate scandal?
No, yeah. So, okay, when if you're not there yet on your second playthrough, Kriss, or if you want to look at the videos of it, in the codec call, the voice sounded super goddamn familiar to me. And I was like, that voice sounds so fucking familiar that I Google searched the cast, and at least from what I'm getting, it's actually the actor, the voice actor. And I gotta go back and I want to, and it's only on the codec call, because when you talk to the ninja himself, it doesn't sound the same in my opinion. It's fucking Grimm from the brother. What is it? Billy and Mandy, Adventures of Grimm.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh, you know what? The voice cast, all the names in this version, they're all stage names.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Actors Guild did not allow them to work with their Actors Guild names, like their whatever names they're using there, on this game officially. So they had to change all their names. So Revolver, like it tells you the actor name below when they introduce them, right? It's like Revolver Ocelot, played by Patrick Lane or whatever, and Solid Snake by David Hayter. So that he's actually the only one who has his real name in the credits. So Solid Snake, voiced by David Hayter, which will become an important thing, Kriss.
Okay.
Throughout the entire series. David Hayter is actually a screenwriter who he wrote the first two X-Men movies, the screenplays, and also the screenplay for Watchmen. If you've ever seen Watchmen, he's responsible for that as well.
Okay.
He's done a bunch of other stuff too, but that's what he's mostly known for, is the first two X-Men movies and Watchmen. So I don't know who you're talking about, German. The
voice actor?
Yes.
According to Wiki, it's Greg Eagles.
Okay, yes, I do know that name, yeah.
He also has a couple other names he's credited as Greg Eels. And
but who's the character that you are referring that he's, because I've never watched whatever it is that you're saying.
Oh, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy? You ever seen that show on Cartoon Network?
No, I've never seen that.
No. Okay.
I wasn't a Cartoon Network kid because I didn't have those channels. Like I have this conversation with Jessie all the time. Like she had Cartoon Network living with you, of course, because she's your sister. I had, like, Nickelodeon was like the highest I got, like Nickelodeon and MTV. So I didn't get Cartoon Network. That was too high on the numbers.
I think it was Channel 50, I believe.
Yep, Channel 50.
It's just a character from Billy and Mandy as a cartoon, which it's fine. I just didn't think I was big into it, but point being is I just thought it was funny that if you ever get a chance, just compare the two voices, like Billy and Mandy, and then only on the codec call, Deep Throat codec call, and it's like, holy shit, it's the same fucking character.
Okay, cool.
I'll have to do that, yeah.
So how'd you do with this tank boss? And did you figure out what you had to do?
It took me a while. I eventually did figure it out. The grenades thing I figured out pretty quickly. because I'm starting to learn with this game that some of the context clues are the types of ammo or the supplies that are around.
Right.
And so one of the first things I noticed is, it gave me grenades. So I must have to use grenades. And I had no idea how to figure out where the mines were or whatever. So I would just be walking around and, okay, I took damage.
So you didn't have the mine detector?
Okay, I'm dead. I do not know.
Okay.
I could have sworn I checked everywhere for it, but I could not find it.
Do you want to know where it is?
Part of me says no, so I'll try to go look for it.
Okay.
Hey, cool. That's good.
But yeah, it was just one of those things where I just kept hitting that, and then I started to figure out, like, okay, if I hug the wall, I don't hit the mine. So I started doing that, and I was able to avoid those for the most part pretty easily.
Does that work?
Yeah, it worked for me. If you go along the left side and you hug that wall, you don't hit any mines.
Even after...
There's one mine right there. That's crazy.
Yeah. I missed it, apparently. I don't know.
No, I've never tried that. So,
all right. I just learned something.
At least I think you do what I do, Noisy. I made it there without the mine detector because, like I said, I didn't care to go look for anything. Because you can just, should I tell him?
No.
Okay.
I was thinking about it. I was like, let's...
Did you even do that in Metal Gear Solid? Or
in Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake? Yes, you do. Yeah. So if he can make that connection.
I know what it is then. You crawl.
Yes.
All right. I thought about doing that, but I was like, in the second one, you had to have the mine detector, because even that I got tripped up on. Like, it shows you where the mines are and everything, but I didn't like look at the radar first. I'm thinking like, it'll show me on the map like it did the first game, and it didn't. And then I start walking, and all these explosions start going off. I was like, what the heck? And then I looked up at the map, and I see all these white dots, and I was like, oh. And I looked at the walkthrough, and it was like, yeah, you have to crawl over them. I was like, that's dumb, but okay. So I'd crawl over them, thinking like you pick them up and you add to your mines, but no, it's just you just pick them up, and that's it.
Yeah, it goes in your inventory.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah, in Solid Snake, yeah.
Okay.
That's how you... because I don't think in Solid Snake there was like items that you picked up to get the mines. Like, I think it's the ones that you pick up from the ground that you can use against the bosses.
I don't remember, but I know I had a shitload of mines because that's what I used for every boss. So.
Yeah, from that desert spot. That's where I got them for the Running Man.
Okay. But yeah, so...
the fastest man alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny as hell.
But yeah, going back to this game, with the second boss, it took me a while to figure it out, because there's that one area, like the top right corner, where there's like a water tower or something. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I can stand behind here and he can't reach me. Uh-huh. But then you're also stuck there. So I was like, crap, what do I do? And so I remember like I would lob grenades and run back and hide there, and it would explode, and he wouldn't take any damage. So I'd lob another grenade and explode, and it wouldn't take any damage. So I was like, okay, maybe it's not grenades, maybe it's C4. So I set down a piece of C4, and I would run back there, and I'd have like one hit left because he's hitting me that whole time. And I was like, crap. So I'd wait for him on the radar to go over it, and I would explode it. And again, no damage. And I was like, I gotta be missing something here. What's going on? And so I kept trying, kept dying. This one I probably died like 10, 12 times. Easy. Yeah. Until quite by accident, I was like right next to him, and I lobbed a grenade, and I noticed it went inside of it. And I was like, oh.
It makes that little sound.
Yeah, that little clink sound or something. Yeah. And so I ran off and exploded, and he comes out with his little machine gun, and I was like, okay, so I'll try that again. And I lobbed it again, but he was out with his machine gun and shot me dead. So I was like, crap, okay. And then I remember thinking like, okay, I have these chaff grenades too, and they disrupt electronics, so I'll try that. And so I tried that, and sure enough, it everything goes all green and sparkly and stuff, and he wasn't aiming at me, so I was like, okay. So I used that, and I ran up next to the grenade, or next to the tank, threw a grenade in, and he comes out again, yells, "Ah!" whatever he does, and then I went and hid, and lobbed another chaff grenade, and it all went green and sparkly, and threw another one. When I was able to figure that out, I think the second time after that I was able to beat him. But it took me a little while to figure that out, to use the chaff grenade to disable the aiming system or whatever, and then lob the grenade inside. And actually there was one time that I remember the tank was turning and just caught my ankle, and I died.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's one of those auto deaths. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Gosh dang it, I gotta watch out for that. So yeah. But it took me a little while to figure out, but I did eventually figure out, okay, you gotta lob the grenades inside, and to this day, to this time, I do not know what the exact mechanics are. So I don't know if it's like you have to be next to the tank, or if you have to be within a certain range of it, or what it is. But it's just like I just happened by chance, like, oh, this is how it works, and that's what I need to do. So
is it timed? Is it how long you or how hard you press the button that lobs it further?
I have no idea. Like I said,
so I learned this recently from watching speedruns. Because that's a good thing about speedruns is they explain everything, right? They're like, in this section, this works a certain way. So in the tank battle, this is the only spot in the game where the longer you hold, the longer you cook the grenade, the further it'll go. Yeah.
It's the only spot in the game that does that.
Nowhere else in the game will you throw it that far. Like, you'll just cook it like normal and then throw it, 5 feet in front of you or however far he's throwing it, like 10 feet.
Yeah.
But in the tank battle, it is the longer you throw it, or the longer you hold it, the further it goes.
Okay.
So it's not particularly useful when you're speedrunning because you want that thing to fall as close to you. Because if you throw it close to you, you're more precise in throwing it into that one little hole.
Yeah.
And if you're like holding it for days, by the time you're like, okay, I finally lined up my throw, you're gonna fucking throw it over him. So if that happened to you, Kriss, then that's why that happens, is because it's now it's measuring distance while you're cooking it.
So you were probably just tapping it without holding it until you.
That could be, yeah.
Which is the best way, Like maybe cook it like 2 seconds, but because
I have my muscle memory, and that's why I was wondering. I'm like, is it how long you press it or how hard you press it? Because I have my little routine where I kind of like the Ocelot fight, where you kind of do these little circles, and I guess those circles are just the right amount of cook time for me to get it into that hole.
Same, yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's funny that the level designers really did a great job here, because when Kriss described the little water tower on the top right, all these memories rushed into my brain, and I was like, that's where I went the first time when I was playing.
Yep.
And then
that's the safest spot to go, but then you're stuck.
Just like Kriss, then you're fucking stuck, and you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm fucking gonna get blasted.
Yeah, and so I think everyone's experience with the tank battle, which is even speedrunners when you watch them, it's the same. It's like, cook it a couple seconds, throw it, but like you said, Kriss, it'll just catch your ankle and fucking knock you to the ground, and then you got to make sure he's not over you, because if he's over you and you try to get up, you'll take damage again. So you kind of have to do like a Monster Hunter thing where, like, okay, he's running over me, stay down.
I believe you can use mines and it'll like disrupt one of his treads, so you can kind of
it does
move around.
You can do damage to the tank. So yeah, if the grenade hits a different part of the tank a couple times, you'll start slowing it down and he won't move as quickly. So I think you're right about mines, and I think C4 would also work.
Yeah, if you put it on the 4. I'd never play with the C4, but I might do the same thing.
I wonder if if we had like Game Shark and we had more explosive weapons.
Like in the trailer, 99,999.
Yeah. Can you like fucking just start like Nikita missiling this tank and stuff? Like,
I know,
do the same thing.
We should try Game Shark.
Yeah. But I don't know if it would do damage to the guy, because those missiles are like shoulder height.
Yeah.
So
did you know?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Did you know that you can go into first person on the Nikita missile?
Like the missile itself?
Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah, you can do that.
Oh wait, I did know that. No, I didn't. Did I? I don't think I'd know that. No.
I used to, and I brought this up just because you said the Nikita missile, and I remember I used to love just going to the Nikita missile and just going to first person view, because it's the only time, other than Integral now apparently, that you could go into first person and kind of walk around the map, if you will, quote unquote.
Yeah. But before you get to that, after second boss, now you're in the waste disposal building.
Yeah.
How'd you have fun in there without weapons? All you had was chaff grenades.
Oh.
I always hated that fucking room. You thank you for reminding me how much I hate that goddamn.
Yeah. Oh
I used to hate it, but now I have my route. Now I'm like, nope, I always go this way.
Yeah, I don't remember that well, but now that you mentioned like losing the weapons and everything, I do remember that.
It would piss me off, because it was like, you can't use any weapons in there, but they can. What the fuck?
Yeah, they can. They can totally blow up the whole place. What the hell?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, because it's something about like, well, we pre-programmed the nanomachines to not allow it. Like,
Yeah.
what are these controlling me? Like, what?
Oh yeah. You'll find out about nanomachines.
Yeah, this is when the potential from nanomachines is definitely introduced here.
Yeah.
And this is also the first time that they talk about Nastasha Romanenko, which I think is the reason why they renamed Natasha from Solid Snake to Gustava, because in the original Japanese version, her name is Natasha.
Okay.
And it was probably too close.
Yeah,
I did mention
Nastasha.
this. Yeah, I did mention this on the Solid Snake episode. I was like, okay, I think this is why they changed it. But yeah,
I do remember you saying that. Yeah.
So the reason they introduce her is, did you call her at all?
I'm pretty sure I did, because she's the one that tells you why you can't use your gun, right? Or was that someone else?
No, Naomi says why. Because she tells you about the nanomachines, but they do give you the frequency, which
I'm pretty sure I did call her
141.52, if I'm not mistaken. And so if you call her the first time, she, is like, hey, I'm glad to be part of the mission, and fuck these terrorists. And Snake's like, oh, you're a tough. Oddly enough, she's the only one he doesn't hit on.
Yeah.
He doesn't. You're right.
Yeah, he doesn't hit on her. He's just you're a tough lady, and she's like, well, yeah, someone has to stand up to these terrorists. But her purpose in the game is actually to explain weapons.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. Yeah, she's a weapons specialist. Yeah,
right. So if you're holding an item or a weapon in your hand and you call, she'll explain to you what that weapon is.
Okay.
And you can actually call her as soon as you leave the very first elevator at the beginning of the game, because her frequency is in the manual. And she's also, I think she's also mentioned in the mission briefing, which I don't know if you went through that, because I know I mentioned you can just watch those also. There's a lot of useful information there. But they mention her in that. And so, so you can from the beginning be like, what is this thing? And they're like, oh, this is a chaff grenade and blah, 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 blah. And this is how it works. And this is the SOCOM and all that stuff. So, but yeah, how many times you set off the gas in that room?
Is there a way to not set off the gas in there? Because I didn't find a way not to.
Well, by not getting caught.
Yeah. If you don't get caught, there's no gas.
You talking about in the room where you used the Nikita?
No. So the weapons.
Sorry, I forget that there's multiple rooms with gas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the disposal facility.
Oh,
or
yeah.
Room, sorry.
I'm pretty sure I didn't set it off.
Oh, nice. Wow, really? You didn't get caught once in that room?
If I remember correctly, I could be wrong. I'll have to replay that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure most of the time I got caught, I would die.
Okay. Because if you do manage to get out of their field of view and the alarm system resets, then the gas goes away in that room.
Okay.
But otherwise, yeah, if you're still in their field of view and they're chasing you, that gas will keep going.
The gate closes too, right?
Yeah, and then you can't get out of that fucking gate. Which, now that you mention that, it's cracked open.
Yeah.
So they know it's cracked open. Why not just close it? Like, they can clearly close it when you're in there, but they don't close it before you get in there.
They're all wearing like full blown hazmat suits.
Yeah, they're prepared for the gas.
Before the gas, yeah, exactly. It's always kind of sure.
So they know.
I'm pretty sure I made it through there without setting off the alarm then, because I do not remember any gas in that area. So.
Okay. Nice. So then when Deep Throat calls you again, did you know where to look for the Nikita, or were you already exploring the first floor basement before you got to the second floor basement?
I was already pretty much exploring. Is that where you go in the elevator, and then there's like the big room in front of you, almost like a big conference room that has computers in it, and there's like rooms to the side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
if you go
first
to
floor
the
basement.
right. That's the first floor basement. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the room where I discovered something interesting about this game versus the previous ones, in that if you kill the people that are down there, they do not respawn.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I think is that the only room where that happens?
It's the only room I've noticed it so far. I don't know if it happens everywhere else too.
Yeah,
like
now that you mention it, I think they don't keep coming in this game. If you manage to kill everyone in the room, that's it. Like they're gone until you reload the room, I guess.
Well, even when I would like walk out and walk back in, unless I went in the elevator and came back down.
Yeah, that's what I mean by reloading. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I thought that was interesting because I remember like sneaking around and someone caught me. I was like, crap, I got to shoot him. And so I shot him and I'm like hiding and I'm like, okay, I know someone else is going to come out because the alarm's tripped. And then the other guy came out because I went, it was the guy in the bathroom that I had first alerted.
Did you watch MP?
Yes, I did. And then I came back down right outside the bathroom. There's that little like column there you can hide behind. Mm-hmm. And so I was behind that, and I saw the other guy come out of the room and come my way, and then I killed him. And I was like, okay, there's got to be more, right? And then the countdown started going, the little thing like, oh, you've hidden. And I was like, what? How did I? There's no way I beat all of them. And so I was like really cautiously like sneaking around, like there's someone's going to come out of that room any second now, and they're going to catch me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm walking near it, and I'm not seeing any red dots. And I was like, that's really odd. Where did he go? And so I'm like looking all over the place, and I didn't see them. So that's when I put together, like, did I actually kill them all and there's not just going to respawn? Like, that's cool. So I did that every time I went down there so I could just freely explore and not have to worry about, like, sneaking around and alerting or whatever. So, yeah, I would always go into the bathroom, kill that guy first, and then hide behind that little tower there, the column, and then kill the other two guys, and I could just do whatever,
I never really thought about that, but you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe because there's no other doors, if you will, load zones other than elevator in that room.
It could be.
But like I think about like if that happened in the tank hangar and you killed like the first time you're in there, there's only two guys in the tank hangar.
Yeah.
Or no, three because of the guy in the
one
the suppressor room.
Yeah.
If you kill them all, no more come. Like he's right. It's just that we haven't dealt with that in a while. So
we don't really kill the people anymore. We just.
But he's right. They don't respond.
Yeah.
Or there's no reinforcements or anything like that. Not like fucking Metal Gear 1 and 2 where off screen they just are just respawning, coming in like a barrage of people. That's not a thing in this game. I totally forgot about that.
But yeah, so I used that to my advantage, and I was just going everywhere, looking at everything, opening all the doors I could, and so I found the Nikita missiles pretty easily.
How'd you kill the guy in the bathroom?
I just snuck up behind him and shot him.
Mm-hmm.
German, how are you actually supposed to kill the guy in the bathroom?
How are you supposed to?
Yeah.
Put some C4 on him.
That's right. Yeah, you put some C4 on his back.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
I used to just choke him to death, too.
So I haven't done that in ages, but when I was playing the story mode this time on Sunday on stream, I was like, because I was like trying to show all the Easter eggs possible. I was like, check this out, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, you can just walk up behind him. And I accidentally alerted him because I went fucking right in front of him. I was like, damn it, I fucked up. But yeah, if you're in the perfect distance, you just press, to set a C4 and it'll put it on his back.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
And you could actually just leave him be and he'll walk away with that C4 still on his back. So you can actually time it to where they're both like next to each other and just blow them both up.
Or wait for the next one, put C4 on his ass and blow both of them up in the room.
And for some reason, as long as the door is closed, as long as the bathroom door is closed and or like there's a room between where there's a door between them, if you blow him up, the other guy's not alerted.
Oh, really? Okay.
But if they're in the same area or the door is open and they're just about and they're like they really thought about like the sound or whatever, like they're emulating. Oh, I heard a sound, but I don't know why they can't hear it through two doors. Like I would definitely hear a fucking explosion 2 doors away.
Well, that whole explosion and guards being alerted. Like I said, I tried to play this game without getting caught. I got caught because I was goofing around a lot, but it reminds me of Metal Gear 2 and 1 and Snakes Revenge and all those, where there was times where shooting the rockets or whatever or C4 grenades would have freaking caused an alert. And then, like, 4 screens over, you're supposed to use C4 to blow up walls, but no one gets alerted on that one. And you're like, make up your mind game,
Yeah.
But yeah, the C4, like I said, I usually would just choke him to death, just because I didn't want to put the C4 on him anymore. But I did what he's talking about. I put it on his back and let him walk around with it, and blow him at the set. Just the works. I
don't even know where we learned that. Like, where did we learn that?
Who knoes? Honestly, man.
I'm guessing trial and error.
Just trial and error. I know if you put the Claymore, it blows up instantly.
Oh yeah, because it as soon
triggers,
as as soon as it disappears, it's just
it's just an instant explosion.
I mean, the only thing you could do is probably just put it in front of the sink because he goes over to wash his hands.
Yeah.
So that'd be the only way.
There's
But yeah, you got to watch him pee, dude. He's all blurred out and everything.
Yeah.
He's pixelated like The Sims. Like
Yep.
But yeah, so German was saying so you didn't go into first person at all with the Nikita?
No.
Okay. How many missiles did it take you?
Which time? Total or no? It
to destroy the electric floor.
It took me Shoot, probably a couple dozen.
Damn.
Yeah.
So many.
Well, the thing that caught me off guard was it would start out at 1 speed.
Yeah.
And then after a second, it would it would boost it. And I was like, oh crap. And so like out of panic, I would try to steer it or whatever. And then like it would slow down again. And that kind of threw me off. Because like I would steer it like thinking like, okay, I'm going to turn it and it's going to be like halfway across here now. So I have to turn it again. So that first corner, I kept like doing a U-turn like constantly. So I remember like that was an issue, and I eventually got used to it. Like, okay, if it starts to go too fast and I feel like I'm gonna lose control, just flick the control one way and then back again.
Yep.
And it'll slow it right down. Mm-hmm. And so I started doing that, and then it was an issue of crap. Where's that panel again? Like I couldn't remember what it was. So like I would go like straight back and hit that back wall. And that it wouldn't work, so I was like, okay, I missed. So I'd go back a little further and then go to the right and then hit the wall right where the door is. And then like 2 times, like those auto turrets shot it down. And it was like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. And then eventually I was like able to get it back through that room, turn to the right, get through the door, and then turn left again, hit the back wall and got that panel. And I was like, yes, finally. And then I think I was going through and I didn't save. I was going through. I went down. I went through those doors on the right and got the items there, one of them being the gas mask. And I kept going down and I went right, and I didn't see the auto turret there at first. And I was really low on health because the gas was, affecting me or whatever. And the auto turret got me and killed me. And I was like, no, you got to be kidding me. I lost so much progress. And but eventually I got through it all again and got everything. But yeah, it was just one of those things where I was like, no, I lost so much. So I remember as soon as I got the panel the next time, I was like, okay, save state, good, but yeah.
You cheated, used the save state in this game?
I did.
In this game? State.
Yep.
Actually, speaking of, we haven't touched on that. I guess checkpoints. When you continue, how do you feel about these ones? Like when you die, how much progress you lose compared to all the old games, all the other games?
I genuinely do not remember that too well, so I can't really comment on that.
It's really just the broom, pretty much.
Okay, yeah.
Kind of just goes back to the broom.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. No, it's that's
yeah,
right.
it's definitely not like. Could you imagine if it took you back to the elevator, no matter where you were?
Oh man,
jeez. Or like the second you entered that particular building or something, like, oh hell no.
Yeah, no, very forgiving in this one. So that's why I was surprised about the save state, Kriss. What the hell?
Yeah,
he just didn't want to deal with that turret.
But yeah, that the rockets. That's a perfect spot to use the D-pad. So if you were using joystick, D-pad.
I was definitely using D-pad. Yeah,
it's like the best spot to be using that. I mean, you could with the joystick, which actually it gives you more control because since you're doing 360 degrees and you're like controlling it more, it keeps it at that slow speed.
Okay.
As soon as you're not giving it a direction, that's when it does the boost. Because the rocket thinks like, oh, I'm pointed where you want me to go. So it does a little boost. And then as soon as you start changing its direction, then it's like, oh, okay, you want me to slow down. And
okay.
Yeah, that's funny. You would think it would be like a manual button to boost versus I think you pointed me correctly. Let me auto boost.
Yeah.
but yeah.
I think for sure that was definitely intended. I think Kojima was like, this needs to be a little bit of a challenge somehow, because if you could just control it like the old ones where it's just one straight speed, which even those sometimes you would miss and you'd be like, fuck, you're like half a pixel off and you're like, are you kidding me?
I'll admit I forgot about the auto boost because I remember I launched my first one and I was going straight and it was like oh shit, and I'm like, oh okay, I forgot it does that. I'm like, okay, cool.
Did
you by any chance step on the floor before you shot your missile?
I did not.
I did for fun.
Do that next time, yeah.
Okay. We'll do that for sure. It was a bit challenging, like I said, the one time where I actually broke it and then ended up dying. I think that was one. I think there was twice that I used a save state in this. That time, and I do not remember the other time. But I think the other time was I had to like get up and go and do something, and it was a situation where it was like in the middle of a cutscene or something. Yeah. And so I didn't have the opportunity to just, okay, let's wait for this to finish and then I'll continue afterwards. It was just like I got through something, I need to go do something real quick right now. So instead of like just letting the game sit here and, first of all, me missing the cutscene and missing information, And then secondly, if the cutscene ends and I just die and now I'm reset back to before that, whatever it would be, I didn't want to do that. So I was like, I'll just do this real quick and go.
It's not until the third one, right, that you can pause? Or is it the fourth one that you can pause cutscenes?
Jesus, I'm trying to remember.
I know the fourth one for sure, because it's like a process. Like you like press start and then it's like skip cutscene. But I don't know if the third one does that.
No, third one default is skip.
Okay, same. Okay.
Yeah, straight up skip.
Yeah, because Kriss today on his stream when he was doing the Ocelot fight on hard, he kept watching the cutscene, and I was like, does he know he can skip cutscenes? And so I told him, I was like, hey, you can skip cutscenes. And of course, that was the time where he beats Ocelot. And he's like, how do I skip cutscenes? And I'm like, press X, like fucking sarcastically, like fucking X. What do you mean? How do you skip cutscenes? Like any button.
So I pressed X.
And he pressed it on the new cutscene.
Oh my God.
The good thing is that he'd already played through that on normal, but like people in chat were like, restart the whole game so we can watch that cutscene.
Of course. Kriss.
Classic, damn it, Kriss.
So were you creeped out at all once you finally got through that gas room and heard people getting murdered?
I don't remember hearing that.
Yeah, so there's like a little transition room that stops you, and then it's like, and then it's just like,
that's right, yeah.
Fuck was that? And then it takes you into that hallway where there's a bunch of dudes.
All the people are dead. Yeah, that's right. I don't think I really put that together. Like I remember hearing the voices, and I saw the dead bodies. It must not have connected for me. Like, oh, I just heard these people die or whatever. So I don't think that I necessarily made that connection.
Kriss is a sociopath now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just murdering dudes. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that you mention it,
he's like, did I kill these guys? I must have, yeah.
Well, I figured the guy had killed them, the one that we were following or whatever, but I didn't make the connection like I just heard them die kind of thing. So, but yeah, no, it reminded me of, and I don't know if you've played Final Fantasy VII or how far you've gotten, the scene where you're in Hojo's lab.
Yes, very much,
and you remember that, Sephiroth's come back and blah, 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 and you're following that trail of blood. Like, that's the first thing that popped in my head when I saw that was immediately like, oh, crap, this is just like that kind of thing. So I remember it, like, it definitely set the scene well. Like, they did really well with that.
It changed the tone of the game.
Oh yeah. It feels Resident Evil as hell when you walk into that section.
Yeah, you're like, what game am I playing now?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was... And that leads right to the third boss, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My favorite line, though, right there in the hallway, because it forces you into like these like mini cutscenes where like the guy comes out and he's like, it's a ghost. And then he falls down and it's just like, I remember as a kid, I was like, what's a ghost? It's like, what are we talking about? And then you see the fucking Predator Ninja and I'm like, dude, this guy's fucking badass, whoever this guy is. And like, I stopped being scared at that point because I was like, this thing is crazy. And and then it leads up to the third boss, and then we meet Hal Emmerich, who you're there to rescue the
you
scientist.
meet him first, and then the boss fights initiates.
Yeah, he goes to hide in the locker.
No. Well, I mean, I guess you don't introduce yourself to him, but you do see him.
So the ninja has him cornered, and then Hal
he pisses himself.
His pants.
I thought that was the greatest thing to put in the video. Like, you don't see that often.
No.
You don't see people so scared.
And there was steam coming out of it. Did you see that?
I did not see that, no.
Yeah, there's like steam coming off of his piss.
Yep.
But like the fact that the game shows like this guy is like dead scared that he pissed himself, like, oh, this is serious, like there's not a lot of games, especially back then, that would do that, would set it up like, no, this is serious, like this guy is like beyond scared, like he is scared stiff. And I was like, oh, that's so good.
Especially so this game is set in 2005, so the Predator movie for sure has come out, and this guy's like, this is a fucking Predator.
Yeah,
like, what's happening?
But yeah, no, that was one of those things that like stuck out to me, like, oh dang, like they actually put in that he peed his pants and it's on his pants and on the floor and everything. I was like super impressed with that. I was like, ooh, that's good.
Yeah, and the dialogue between him and Snake is just, it's so fucking epic, because it's just like, who are you? And he's like, oh no, he said that in the revolver thing, like, I'm like you, I have no name. But in this, he says, I come from a world where such words are not meaningless, or are meaningless, or something like that.
Something.
Yeah.
And it's just so like theatrical and dramatic, and then you just hear Hal say like, It's like one of my Japanese animes.
Which I wanted to ask. I don't know the Japanese version. Does he say Japanese anime or does he just say a fucking anime?
I guess he would just say anime.
Right?
Yeah,
I would hope so.
Well, I remember at one...
Or what if he says, it's like an American cartoon or something?
It's like an American cartoon.
Well, I remember one time he says, like, Japanese animation. I was like, you mean anime? What?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and I mean, this is back when anime wasn't so, like, prevalent in the Western world. You know, we had like Astro Boy and Ultraman, I think. I'm trying to think of like the animes that we had.
We might have had Dragon Ball by that point, maybe.
I
too.
think it was about. I think Dragon Ball was out.
So only like the early weebs would know fucking like actual anime at this time. So having to say Japanese anime is like it's around like the same time as like people explaining EMPs in movies all the time. Like, what's an EMP?
Or is it saying Japanimation, like Kriss was saying? You know, it's like
Japanimation.
Yeah, it's just a fucking anime. It's just an anime. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But so then this fool's like, make me feel alive again, and you're like, all right, what'd you do, Kriss? How'd you make him feel alive again?
Oh, that was That was interesting. So at first, I remember I would use the chaff grenade to stun him, and I was using the not the handgun, the FAMAS, to shoot him. And it's funny because while I was playing this, I was on Discord. I know you know him, Noise. I was playing I was streaming for Bacon on Discord.
Oh, okay.
And he was watching me, and I was trying to figure out how to get him, how to shoot him. And I noticed around the room they had the FAMAS ammo. So I was like, oh, you use the FAMAS, because I used the handgun and it wasn't doing anything. The grenades weren't doing anything. And so I was like, okay, so I must have to use this. So I threw the chaff grenade and it would stun him. And then I was using the FAMAS to shoot him. And I was like, it's really not doing that much damage. And I remember he said, and I know he was trying to hold back as much as he could. He's like, well, that's a choice. And I was like, okay, is it not the right choice? Like, what am I doing wrong? And so I was like, well, what other options do I have? Like, I tried the handgun, it wasn't doing anything. I tried the grenades, they weren't doing anything. Like, he would just run away before it did anything. And so I was like, the only thing I haven't tried yet is punching him. And so sure enough, I would throw the chaff grenade and he would stun, and I would go up to him and punch him the 3 times. And I was like, oh, that did like twice as much damage as the freaking bullets did. What the heck? And so that's what I ended up doing. And I remember I think it took me like two tries to figure that out. Because the first try I was just going through different weapons, and then that's when I landed on the FAMAS, and then noticed it wasn't doing a lot of damage, and I died. And then I was like, okay, I'll try the FAMAS again. And that's when the Bacon had said like, oh no, that's an option, or that's a choice, or whatever. And I was like, okay, so I'll try something else. The only thing I haven't tried is punching. So I tried that time. And again, I ended up dying because I was low on health. And then the third time, I remember I got him like down to, what is it, like half health. And then it's one of those things where it's like, okay, version 2 of the fight, or section 2 or whatever. Phase 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So he starts doing his thing where he's like jumping around all over the place, jumping around, and then he'll like charge at you. And I died a couple times during that part as well. And then I went back and I think after the third time, I got him to the third phase where he's like, oh, this is what I remember. This is what it used to be like, and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, you liking this? Like, that's super kinky, but okay. Like, that's what you're into.
No kink shame.
But, no, not at all.
Should we keep fighting, or
yeah.
Good?
Do we have a safe word?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I kept fighting him, and I remember I had almost gotten him knocked down, almost completely. And then he did that thing where you get up close to him, or you like slowly walk towards you, and he would like teleport around. Mm-hmm. And I caught on to that pretty quick. I was like, okay, so he, for the first part, he'll teleport once, and he'll try to get you from behind. So I was like, okay, so walk towards him, and as soon as he teleports, turn around and go the other way.
Or as Otacom say, as soon as he flash steps.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
As who says?
I was joking around. Otacon would say he flash steps from an anime.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like, okay, so I picked up on that pretty quick. And then I remember he would do the thing where he would like teleport 2 or 3 times. And that caught me off guard. But then I would get used to that again. And it's like, okay, that's easy. And then it got to the point to where it's like, just stand near him, because I would used to be like, he would do the teleport thing, I'd punch him, and then I would run off. And then he'd come towards me again. It's like, but I don't need to do that. I'll just stay right here. he'll start walking towards me. I know when he's going to teleport. And so it was fairly easy once I got that all figured out and everything that I got him down. But yeah, and then immediately after that is when I messaged you guys like, I just beat him. What do I do now? This is 2 days in. What do I do? It's so, but
Fuck
yeah,
around.
But yeah, so it was an interesting fight, very interesting mechanic. I don't know how I feel about the fact that the punches did more damage than the bullets. It kind of makes sense because if he's wearing a suit of armor, the bullets aren't going to hit that hard, whereas if you're punching him, it's going to be more bludgeoning damage. So in that sense, it kind of makes some sense, but at the same time, it's like, it's still a suit of armor or whatever it is. So
I think it's just a story thing, just to kind of force you into what he was asking you to do to begin with, right?
Okay.
Did you try shooting him without the chaff grenades, Chris?
I did not.
Oh,
Or
okay.
I did.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if I hit him or not.
No.
Nope, you definitely did not.
Okay.
Yeah, he uses his
Katana.
sword to deflect all your bullets.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Which I remember when I first saw that, I was like you said, Noise. This guy is fucking cool, man. I was like, I think it was probably one of my first times ever seeing that in any kind of medium, deflecting bullets with the sword. You know?
I think so too. I don't think I ever saw anything like that.
And not that it didn't exist. It's just, I just never seen it before. So I thought that was incredibly cool,
Yeah.
Not one bullet. Like you said, if you shoot the FAMAS at him, same thing. He just blocks them all. And I was like, dude, this guy's fucking awesome.
I think that's ruined anything in movies that does that now. Because it's just like, you're not a fucking cyborg ninja motherfucker. You're like,
yeah. So,
like Wonder Woman does it with her like wrist guard things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're not fucking cyborg ninja. Like,
yeah. With that said, you are 100% right. Because like I said, I'm pretty damn sure this was the first time I ever saw it. So anything after this that did it, I was like, you're not fucking cyborg ninja. I just automatically assumed they were copying Metal Gear, even though they...
Yeah, like cyborg ninja would fuck you up. Like, how'd you deal with the hide and seek part?
Oh, yeah, that was easy for me.
The third phase, yeah.
Yeah, where he like, I'm over here, and it like shows clearly where he
Hurry
went.
up and catch me.
Yeah, it like shows clearly where he went. And like, yeah, it's hard to see him when he's in that mode, but there's also like, and I love the way they did it, and I don't know how long it took them to figure this out or like what they had to do as far as like creativity or working around limitations. But the fact that he's clearly invisible, but there's just a slight like deformation or something, silhouette or whatever you want to call it. Just a slight variance on his like the outline of him, basically. You can see where he is kind of, but at the same time, if he's moving, like he's gonna be hard to track.
Yeah.
But if he's standing still, you can kind of see where he is. Like it's not super easy, but you can, if you're paying attention, you can tell.
Yeah.
And I think they did a really good job with that because there's other games where it's like, oh yeah, he's invisible and you can't see anything, but like that may not be how it. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, but I'm hitting where he just was and he's just not there anymore. There's no way he moved that fast, Chameleos. But yeah, it's like the fact that they added that in, and again, I don't know like what they had to do to figure that out, but like I applaud the devs and the art director and everything for that because that was really well done.
Yeah, because it does show you where he lands the first time, and then the other two it doesn't show you. So if he happens to land outside of your camera view, the intentional thing to do is you have to use your ears. So the stereo will actually tell you, oh, he's on this side of the room now, or he's on this side of the room.
That's right. I do remember that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember using that. Yeah, because I was listening for the footsteps and wearing my headphones, and I was like, okay, he's to the left. Okay, he's above me. Oh,
but
there he is.
There's also another way to know exactly where he is. Should I tell him, German?
Yeah, I think so.
The thermal goggles.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, they'll give away his position right away.
Yeah, the thermal goggles.
They're kind of necessary on extreme because the last phase, when he's walking towards you slowly, you don't want to get hit by him once because that punch is like a one shot on extreme, and it's already super tough on normal. Like he hits you super hard.
Yeah.
But on that phase, he's invisible the whole time on extreme.
Oh, okay.
So you definitely want to know exactly where he is, and it also kind of prevents him from teleporting unfairly because if you don't have them on, he will teleport unfairly. Like, it's just like, how the hell did you get over here? Like,
Yeah.
like, what the hell?
Okay.
And did you figure out that you had to shoot him at the end? Like, that's the only way to get near him? Or what'd you do?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. The when he does that force field thing, that actually killed me. I had beaten him.
Nice.
I had just beaten him. And he's like, oh, and I remember the blue arc starts coming out, and like I didn't even have time to react. And it was one of those things where I was down to just a sliver of health, and I didn't have any rations left or anything. And it killed me. I was like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. So,
yes, you got the full experience.
And then I remember the second time after I'd beaten him, I was like, okay, give him plenty of space. And so I like run over to the next area, and he did that. And then I noticed he had like jumped over, and I was like, what? He's not dead yet? What are you doing? And so I think it took a few jumps for him to do that. And then I shot him, and he finally died. But yeah, it was like one of those things where I was like, I know I can't get near him. Like, I know I can't approach him because he's going to kill me with that little force field thing, whatever it is, electric lightning or whatever. I assumed it was just his suit shorting out or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually I was like, okay, I'll try a gun or something. And I pulled it out and shot him, and yeah, he died. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, the first time I had died to his little lightning attack, and I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Cool.
Did you try, like we were saying, there's so much attention to detail, and you've noticed it. Did you ever try tossing him?
No.
Yeah, you try to toss him, and he's acrobatic as hell. He'll just flip right through. He'll cartwheel or something along the sides. So it's just kind of cool, like I said, to just kind of go back and the second playthrough, if you do one, just try different things and call different people. It's a super fun game.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, so that's basically the gameplay part of everything. Yeah, it seems like you had a fun time. Like, it wasn't like insanely tough or anything like that.
Yeah,
it was like a video game experience, like a modern video game experience.
Yeah.
But just like a 1998 graphics, pretty much. So I'll just go quickly over the story. So you're sneaking in. You're sent in because these terrorists are demanding the remains of Big Boss. And Kriss, you said that on the last time, you said possibly that Big Boss would not show up, but that he would be mentioned.
Yeah.
And there we go.
You referenced, yep.
Yeah, you were definitely spot on that. And then also, I don't know if you noticed, but when you were escaping the cell after the DARPA chief died, that Meryl mistakes you for Liquid.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
so,
Liquid? No. And yeah.
Yeah, so if you want to find out why, watch the briefing stuff.
Okay.
That'll definitely tell you, like, what the heck. Did you watch the intro, by the way? Like, did you just, like, when you're at the menu, did you just let the little story play?
I think so. I don't remember much from it, so I'll watch it again, but I'm pretty sure I did let it play through, yeah. Yeah,
so they basically explain that whole thing, that the terrorists are demanding the remains of Big Boss, and that there's 6 of them, right? So they name all the guys. They're like, there's Decoy Octopus, Vulcan Raven, Sniper Wolf, Psycho Mantis, Revolver Ocelot, and Liquid Snake. The man with the same code name as you. So that's like, my equal, like someone who, which is weird because like Big Boss is supposed to be like the big badass, but then there's someone like as equal as you. So are you better than Big Boss, right?
I mean, we beat him twice, so.
Right, yeah.
Did we?
Did we? That's true. I mean, we beat him once and then he came back and beat him twice. Will he come back again? I don't know. I mean, we set his ass on fire. He fucking better be dead. And so, yeah, so even Revolver Ocelot kind of reinforces this thing, and he's like, oh, it's, I'm meeting the man with the same codename as the boss.
Oh, speaking of Revolver Ocelot, you get 2 endings with him. If you do good, he says, just what I expect from the man with the same codename as the boss.
Really? Does that dialogue change?
Yeah, and if you do bad on his boss fight, he says, I'm disappointed.
No
I expected
way.
more from you or something like that. Yeah, you have to, I think, die a couple times and they just take forever to beat him or something like that.
Huh.
I know my first playthrough, he says that you suck pretty much. And then later playthroughs, I was like, oh, cool. Dialogue changes.
That's good to know.
Interesting, yeah.
So you don't remember what you got, Kriss? Did you get?
I don't remember, no.
Yeah, because he says, you're pretty good. That's what I'm used to him saying. Like, you're pretty good. Just what I expected from the man with the same code name as the boss.
Yeah. And if you do bad, he straight up tells you that he's disappointed. Pretty much same, like just short. It's just, I'm disappointed. I expected more from you or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and by that point, DARPA chief has died on us from a heart attack, and everyone's on the codec is acting real suspicious. Like, a heart attack? No, and it's like...
Colonel Campbell, 100%. It's... Couldn't be. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually...
like he knows
I wrote
something.
down some notes. Colonel is sus is exactly what I wrote in my notes. So
those are your only notes. Colonel is sus.
Well, that's for the colonel. That's all I wrote.
Yeah. But even the DARPA chief was kind of being weird, right? Like he was like
he seemed evasive.
Yeah, and there's a meme on him, where it's like where Solid Snake knows about Metal Gear, and the meme is that DARPA chief goes, "You knew?" And it's like so it's like an internet meme.
That's what you were doing in chat today. Okay.
Yeah, Spy loves that. He's like, "You knew?" I made that a sound effect for my stream. But yeah, he's like, after you tell him, like, I'm gonna get you out of here, then he starts like probing you more. He's like, you haven't heard any other way to disable the the launch, right? And it's like, well, I just fucking told you no.
I know, right?
And then he's like, what about the Pentagon? And then that's when he like has a heart attack, and it's just like, what's happening? And the funniest thing when he dies and when Kenneth Baker dies is that he's not very reactive. He's just kind of like sitting there like, what are you doing? You having a heart attack? What's happening? Yeah. But I think that's just part of the animation or whatever, just to intensify like the actual person dying, like that person is having the reaction.
Well, with that said, the sound effects always sound like stomach, like diarrhea, not fucking heart attack. So I don't know if that's just me. Right before they die.
Oh, the
gurgling kind of sound. I always thought, I'm like, what the fuck is he got?
Yes,
shit his pants.
It's like yeah. It's like weird. So that happens. DARPA chief dies. Meryl escapes her cell that she was right next to it and frees you for some reason, and then interrogates you, and then you both get out together, and then you get a good look at her butt. And when she is in the elevator, I don't know if you noticed, like, so Psycho Mantis shows up, and she he shows up after this, but she shoots at you, which is kind of uncharacteristic because you kind of just saved her, and she didn't even have the nerve to shoot those soldiers. So why was she shooting at you? And then Psycho Mantis is there, and he says, "Good girl," just like that, which is kind of like, okay, why did that just happen? And Snake reports to Naomi, like, I think I had a hallucination. What the hell?
Oh, okay.
And so that's where Naomi says, like, oh yeah, that's Psycho Mantis, and he's like, okay, so that was Mantis, blah blah blah. And then you call Meryl. You guys have that conversation where she definitively kind of shows that she is too green for being here. And Snake's like, just stay put, and she's like, fuck that, and she's like, I'll meet you at that other building, whatever, and opens the door for you, and that's when you either get caught or don't get caught by the lasers. And so you encounter Vulcan Raven in the tank. Oddly enough, the only thing you defeat from that tank are the two soldiers that were in the tank, because Vulcan Raven is still alive. He has a conversation with Liquid over the radio.
That's right, yeah.
And says, are you happy? He got the key card, which makes everything even more sus. Like, why would they want me to get the level 3 key card to keep going? Not only that, but he also embarrasses Revolver Ross a lot. Like, I heard he took your hand, bitch. And he calls him General Ivan. Did you notice that, German?
I did notice that.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to talk about that in the future, because names in this franchise are not very consistent, to say the least. So they're happy that you got... Oh, go ahead, German.
Oh, well, I was going to say, just kind of talking about Meryl opening the door for you. If I remember, she hears, at least she suspects DARPA chief is talking to someone. So maybe that's why she opened the door, because she was planning to meet up with him or something,
Yeah. And I mean, she even also like... Well, the thing is that she thinks you killed the chief at first, yeah. So I don't know. You're building trust with her, I guess.
Yeah. What's funny about that scene? I don't know if you know you can do this, Chris, but if you go into first person view, it tells you in the manual as well. You can push R1 and L1 to lean left or lean right.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it's kind of funny because if you stand at that door, and in other scenarios too, but in that door particularly, that scene, you can lean way the fuck out. and you can clearly see Meryl, and she can clearly see you, but nothing happens, you know. So I always thought it was super funny. I'm assuming if you do that maybe in the first person mode and you shoot her, nothing will happen because, you know, she's just a stand-in or something. But yeah, I think that's why she opens the door for you. It's just she was waiting to see who would come out of that room. Maybe she thought Tharpatchi would come out, and then she sees your ass or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It could be.
I know, yeah, we get that call from Deep Throat, and he's one of our fans, and so Kriss is suspecting he's an enemy, but also maybe a friend.
Yeah.
Then we make our way to the second building to go rescue Hal, which he introduces himself to us, and we learn his entire life story, by the way.
Yeah. That was a long cutscene.
Yes, that was a very long cutscene, but this is kind of where you really see where Kojima is coming from. The nuclear history of Japan definitely drives Kojima and his games.
Yeah.
Not just Metal Gear, but also Death Stranding. And most likely Police Knots and Snatcher. I've not played those other two, but he was deeply affected by war. You know, his parents lived through all that shit, so...
I think in Zone of Enders, too, I don't think there's nuclear threat, but there's definitely, like, war and, like...
Yeah.
Colonization almost in that game, if I remember.
Yeah, so I think what most people kind of say about Otacon and Kojima is that the things that Otacon says are like Kojima speaking to us, the players. So, you know, like he likes using dates and weird stuff like this, like just to kind of put more emphasis, like, oh yeah, my dad was born on the day of the Hiroshima bomb, you know, and you know, that like they showed like real footage of those explosions in the game, which is, you know, it's, as a kid, that was very impactful to me. I was like, I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
I never even really processed it as a kid hearing about it in school. You know, like in school, the way they gloss over history really in school is awful. You know, it's just like, and we had wars, and then there was this war, and then there was this war, and they never really tell you like how awful it really is. And this game forced me to confront that head on. I was like, that explosion is so crazy. And then also at that point, I didn't know anything about like radiation. I didn't know the aftermath, the fallout. As long as that cutscene was, I feel like it's one of the most important ones in this game as far as establishing what these games are actually about.
Yeah.
They're anti-war. And I think the fans out there are right. I think Otacon is Kojima speaking to us. And he's also a big fucking anime and robot nerd, which is literally what Otacon is.
Yeah.
Pop quiz, Kriss. What does Otacon stand for?
Autonomous Convention?
Close. Otaku
Autonomy?
Convention.
Oh, otaku. Okay.
Yeah, otaku, I guess, is... Which I didn't know this.
Those are anime fans.
Anime fans,
manga fans, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we get that whole story. But right before we get that whole story, we find out who the fucking cyborg ninja is. What'd you think of that, Kriss?
I don't remember that, honestly.
What? Oh my God, Kriss.
No, I remember it happening. I don't remember what the story points were, basically.
It's the biggest twist in the game. Thus far. The ninja is Gray Fox.
That's right. I do remember that. Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh. How did I forget that? Yeah.
I mean, it was a while ago.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was like almost 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was, I remember like, what? How? And then, yeah, he kind of explained like, oh, I didn't actually die. Like they kind of put me back together and everything. I was like, that must suck. And then he talks about like how it's always painful and like they give him medicine and stuff. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
So Naomi
like,
explains that stuff.
Naomi, it was.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you call in and you're like, I know that was Gray Fox, and he's like, he's like that's impossible.
Like you should know better than anyone. He died in Zanzibar. Oh, by the way, in this game they call it Zanzibar, which is incorrect because Zanzibar is a real life country, and Zanzibar land is the fictional one. Yeah. So
no, he just omitted the land part.
Yeah, he just omitted the land part.
Oh, I figured in the first one they meant Zanzibar, and Zanzibar land was like a mistranslation or like just a way of saying it in the game versus like, nope, this is just a fictional place. I didn't realize. Okay.
So
I just figured it was Zanzibar. Okay.
I don't even know why they called the fictional place Zanzibar land. Like they could have made up any other name.
Yeah.
But they decided on Zanzibar land, and it's like, okay, well, that's not going to confuse anyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gray Fox has returned, not Schneider. Also, Holly did not return. That is not Holly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what else can we say about the story? Naomi is withholding information. You know, they're like, why didn't you fucking tell us about this ninja? And she's like, because it's classified information. And it's
That's right.
What? Like, you work for Foxhound. Like, this is something you should be telling us.
Yeah.
So now Naomi is becoming a little sus.
The whole organization, and I remember you and Herman talking about this earlier about like government conspiracy, and I don't trust the government and everything, but I'm starting to get that sense now, like whoever is leading these missions and whoever is telling me what to do, like they're clearly not giving me all the information I need to do the missions, which means either they are expecting me to die at some point, like they want, like in the first game, like, oh, you weren't supposed to find out this stuff and you were supposed to just go in and just, you know, get like basic information and leave, but you went too far and now we got to kill you kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Or they're like, there's some ulterior motive or something where like, oh, we want to find this information, but we're going to send you in to do it because you're our pawn. Mm-hmm. But we also know you're going to be good enough to get the information. And if you don't, you're
expendable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a nameless soldier. You know?
But now this time, you're like the legendary Solid Snake, right?
Yeah.
You're the big boss, so you're capable. So they chose you for a reason, you know. It's like,
Meryl knows you, but, you know, which makes me laugh. Does she talk about... No, maybe it doesn't happen yet. Never mind, I won't say that yet. But, she knows exactly who you are.
she does talk about it. She says that her uncle...
No. I was going to say her tattoo.
Oh, yes.
That's unlegible. And I don't know how the fuck I made I don't think I ever noticed what the tattoo was back in the day.
The loading screen to Metal Gear 2?
Yeah. It's supposed to be the fox that has that bullet that curves, Kriss.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He hasn't seen it yet. I mean,
but
you can kind of see it from the vent if you look down, which Kriss did not do. He was not a creeper.
Nope.
Weirdly enough.
Did you know? I hope you do know noise. But so Kriss, on top of looking down at the vent, if you exit the vent and come back, she'll be doing a different exercise. And if you exit the vent again and come back, she'll be doing another exercise.
Noise had told me about that, and I remember like thinking about that when I was doing the hard playthrough. Like, do I want to do that? I was like, nah, I don't want to. Like, it's going to take me long enough to get through the fights and everything. I don't want to spend too much time doing that. So
I did it on stream on Sunday because I wanted to show all the Easter eggs. Mm-hmm. So we'll just go over that. So you do it 3 times. It's 3 different exercises. It's sit-ups first, then it's 1-arm push-ups, and then it's like leg stretches against the wall.
Yeah.
And then if you do it again, now she's doing all 3 of those different exercises, but in her underwear.
Yeah.
So if you pervs out there want to watch at some pointy pixels and geometry in their underwear, you can do that.
I'm pretty sure I didn't know that the first couple times I played through. It probably wasn't until I revisited it after, Metal Gear 2 came out and the internet was more available that I was like, what? And I went back and I was like, oh shit, I guess you're right. And that's when I realized, because Metal Gear 2, Solid 2, has, a ton of Easter eggs. So that's when I was like, dude, let me go back and see what else is in this first one, you know?
Yeah. And then another Easter egg in the lab, in the laboratory where you fight Gray Fox, there's a PlayStation in there.
Oh, I missed that too. Huh.
Yeah. So, like in the middle cubicle, there's a little PlayStation. You can even see the controller and everything.
And has also the police knot poster.
The posters, 2 posters for the police knots are also in that room.
That's cool.
But those are pretty much the Easter eggs, and that's the story up until this point.
Okay.
So we'll do a little small section of our what's it called? My brain's starting to melt.
Oh shit! It's midnight. What the?
Yeah, we've been talking a while.
It was 11 o'clock last time I checked.
Our favorite segment, Ask Kriss. What do you think is going to happen in the next third of the game? We'll just make this quick so that we can sign off.
Gosh, I don't even really know.
Now that everyone's like clearly super sus and it doesn't seem like you can trust anyone.
Yeah. I think we're going to encounter Gray Fox again. I don't think that's the last we're going to see of him. I think there's going to be another person who's going to die of a heart attack, and Snake is just going to get pissed off and like, you need to tell me what's going on or I'm done. And there's going to be some sort of information that's going to either leak that the Colonel is not completely on our side, or that there's a lot more to this than he's been led to believe. And I'm sort of leaning more towards there's just more to this than he's led to believe. And it's like what's her name had alluded to, like, oh, it's top secret, we couldn't tell you, but you're sending me in to do all this stuff and you're not giving me the information I need. Why? So I'm kind of leaning more towards that there's more going on behind the scenes, or it's more interconnected than they're letting him know, because you are legendary and you're Solid Snake, but you're still just a pawn to us because we're too important and we're bureaucrats and we don't get our hands dirty. That's what you're for. So we're sending you to do the dirty work for us. We're just going to give you as much information as you need to get by, and no more than that. Don't ask any questions, kind of thing. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know whether to confirm or deny that.
Yeah, no,
but it sounds good.
I think we're the government in this case, Chris. Just keep going, and we'll tell you what you need to know when you need to know it.
Great.
Oh, fantastic. And I forgot. Oh. This is the gas room. Put on your gas mask.
Yeah. Thanks.
One last thing before we sign off. I don't remember who says it. Noise. I think it was DARPA chief or Arms Tech President Baker. One of those guys says they wouldn't. Yeah.
I know what you're going to say, because I was going to mention this too. Go ahead.
Yeah. Pretty much without saying it, referring, like Chris was saying, like, is there someone else pulling strings kind of thing, It's interesting to know that, at least from what I understood, yeah, it's good. It was not planned ahead, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I guess I don't want to say much, but there's just a line that was in there that I'm like, it does relate to future games. Interesting,
Oh, no, that's not the thing I thought you were going to say.
That's not. Oh, what were you thinking?
So what I thought you were going to talk about was that Kenneth Baker mentions that they both have implants in their brain that doesn't allow for anyone to read their minds. So another thing that's sus is that DARPA chief claims that Psycho Mantis dove into his mind to get the launch code, and Kenneth Baker says, like, no, you must have heard that wrong, because we both have implants in our brains. The only reason they got Kenneth Baker's launch code is because he's not good with torture. That's why his arm's broken and shit.
Oh yeah.
So that kind of also makes another thing sus. It's like, well then how'd they get the DARPA chief's launch code?
Yeah.
So something's amiss there. I don't know what you're talking about then, German. I'm trying to figure out.
I'll say it. Chris won't know. I think it's Baker. No, DARPA chief. He says they wouldn't, or they couldn't, or something along those lines.
The you actually went and did it.
I think so.
While he's having the heart attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did you do to me? These guys actually went and did it.
Do you think he's referring to Lalu?
Oh.
That's what that's what I was.
Low.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I was like, oh shit.
Chris is gonna be so fucking confused, dude.
Yep.
Don't worry. That's why I said that instead.
No idea.
I mean, we could say Lolly Lule Low, because Chris is gonna be like, what? it's the most cryptic words you'll ever hear, Chris.
But that in hindsight is a reference to them, right?
I believe so. I don't think Kojima was thinking that far ahead.
No, but yeah, it's interesting that.
But I
was
often think about that. Yeah, I often do think about, like, if that's what they were talking about, the Lolly Lule Low.
Yeah. Don't worry, you'll know all about them, Chris, and you'll.
Oh man,
it's all in time.
Yeah, the Lolly Lule Low. I miss saying that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, you're gonna have fun. You're gonna come out with a million phrases and memes out of this whole series, Chris.
Nice.
Yeah, and I hope you get to the point to where you just kind of want to explain the story to other people, and other people are just gonna look at you strange, like,
yeah, what are you talking about? Are you on drugs?
This sounds stupid.
Yeah.
All right, so for the next episode, we're gonna play through the second third of this game, which will be, I'm trying to think of the bosses. So I think he's going to have to stop at the top of a building. Am I correct, German?
It depends on whether you count one encounter as a mini boss or a full boss. Because you had told Chris originally that life bar meant boss.
Yes. So the mini boss you're thinking of does not give you a life bar at the top of that building.
Oh, it doesn't?
No. So it's not until after the actual defeat of this boss that you get health. So it's at the top of a building when you get your health. So that should be the sixth boss.
Okay.
If I'm correct, right? Yes, I'm correct, yeah. Because now I'm thinking of the last three bosses. This second third might might actually give you some trouble. The first third of the game is like, okay, I'm learning how to play the game.
Yeah.
And then now for sure it's going to be kind of the same type of rules, the same Legend of Zelda rules where like new weapon, you should use new weapon on new boss, right? So keep that mindset.
Okay.
But of course there are multiple ways to defeat bosses as Metal Gear has taught us before. You know, set down a bunch of mines and turn around and Dr. Super Arms will explode.
Yeah. With you being unharmed for some reason.
Yeah. You'll be fine. So yeah, you might, I don't want to tell you to look at a guide for certain things. I want you to experience it all the way through. Don't give up on certain bosses because it's going to seem like some of them are impossible, but the game will help you itself. So try to make sure that the game helps you if you are stuck.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Don't look for guides because this is part of the whole experience, especially with these types of bosses.
Well, and now that I'm like, we're not doing a whole game in a week, I can take more time to like spend some time with it and, okay, let's, and like I said, context clues and stuff like that. So I will definitely give it a good college try before I even think about looking at a walkthrough or whatever. And I'll probably message you guys first before I even do that. So
yeah, if anything, we might just give you some like breadcrumbs, like go about this route, without telling you the answer. Not like Master Miller where he's like, oh, this is the code.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. So, okay, I'll do that.
But yeah, this is why I split the game up into at least 3 parts. I know German was like, oh yeah, we could talk about the whole game in one episode. Like, no. Like, I want to like deep dive into these games because especially this one is so important. Metal Gear Solid 1 is the jumping off point for most of the Western world into Metal Gear. And I know how important it is to fans. And I just want to give it its due diligence and its recognition because, yeah, it's a deeper game than you think it is. And as quickly as you got through the game, there was a lot, right? Like a lot happened.
Oh, yeah. Well, like I said, I half the stuff I didn't even remember until you mentioned something or, said something that triggered a memory like, oh, yeah, you're right. And it's just like, yeah there's a lot to it. So.
Oh, yeah, Gray Fox. Yeah, that big-ass twist.
Yeah.
But it'll be more fresh in your mind this time since we're not, going to be a week and a half out.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, we had to get German a mic so that he sounds a lot better now, doesn't he, guys? He sounds pretty dope.
Much
better. And we also had to get Kriss the games so that he can play them. So now he's pretty much stacked with a bunch of Metal Gear games.
Yeah.
Except for 5. He needs to get that at some point. Well, he'll get that when we get there, which is way in the future.
Yeah. Just a bit out.
Yeah. So, yep, that's the plan up until the 6th boss. People listening, if you've already replayed this, or if you've already played this before, you know which boss we're talking about. And any last thoughts, guys?
I'm excited. I'm ready for Kriss to keep playing it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm looking forward to the challenge. Not that I've not enjoyed the game or anything until this point, but it was one of those things where, like I said, I was a little pleasantly surprised that wait, that's it? I already did it? Like that's all it took? And so I'm definitely looking forward to the more challenging mode. And it makes sense because a lot of games are like that now where it's like, oh, here's the beginning of the tutorial phase, if you will. And, we'll hold your hand. We'll give you all these clues and sort of make everything easy for you. And then, okay, now that you know all the mechanics of the game, now we're going to really throw you to the wolves, and take everything you've learned in the first part of the game and apply that now, but we're not going to give you as many clues, kind of thing. So I look forward to that.
Yeah. Yep. That's definitely what's going to happen.
Nice.
Yeah, you said no last words, German?
No. That's it for me. Just want to kind of get through this one. Not because I want to rush it, because I like this game a lot. And I want to talk more about it. I want Kriss to get to the next part.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's crazy how much we can get out of, like we got more out of the mechanics than we did the story on this episode.
No shit. Yeah, we did.
Kind of crazy. I kind of expected the opposite, but yeah.
Well, I mean, it's only 1/3 story, and the mechanics were a whole overhaul, kind of. It's first 3D Metal Gear game, so. Yeah.
Oh, so now that we're mentioning that, sorry, one last thing. So the thing that you should have been using 90% of the time, Kriss, you did mention it, which means you know about it, is the leaning up against walls. So
okay.
As I watched you try to get back into the elevator in the tank hangar, and you were hiding in that fucking box, And those guards kept going like, oh, just a box. And then sometimes they would tip you over.
Mm-hmm.
It's not random. It's just that you keep showing up as a box and they're like, what is this box doing here? Now it's in a different position and blah, blah, blah. So you're actually antagonizing them to kick you over. And also if you're in their path, they will kick you over because they're like, well, this thing's clearly in my path.
Yeah.
I know sometimes they'll walk through you because you're just outside of their like programmed path, but you can lean up against walls and enemies won't see you because you are, you're flat up against the wall.
Okay.
But it changes the camera for you to see where they're coming from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you're at a corner and you lean up against that corner, the camera will move so that it's like if you were leaning over that corner.
Okay,
so,
I've seen that a few times, and I've definitely used that before. I didn't know, like, if you're out in the open up against a wall that they wouldn't be able to see you. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, unless they're looking directly at you at the wall.
But if they're, like, walking by you?
Yes.
Okay.
So use that to your advantage. That is a huge, huge part of Metal Gear Solid from now on, pretty much. It's something I'm sure German doesn't use as often anymore because I don't really. Like, I just know the paths and I just run by them or throw them or whatever.
Yeah, definitely don't lean, especially not on this one. The few more later games, I do use it more.
Yeah, but as a beginner, that is a lifesaver because you cannot, it takes longer to go into first person and lean out, because which, by the way, they can't see you if you lean out.
Yeah, you can't.
But it just takes longer and they can spot you because you're not leaned up against the wall.
Right.
So that is another piece of advice I will give you. And I didn't want to tell you that on stream. I was like, I'm just going to watch him struggle a little bit more. It's funnier this way.
Yeah.
All right. So we got our marching orders, guys.
Cool.
Very good.
Listeners, thank you for sticking around for this pretty long episode, but I hope you guys are happy with all the information that we talked about. This has been Codec Calls, a Metal Gear Saga podcast where we play and replay the games from 1987 to the present with 2 veterans and 1 noob. And I have been Luis, a.k.a. Noise1, and my 2 co-hosts. Go ahead and sign off.
Hey, this is German. You can call me Contra, a.k.a. Riser. That is a third name. German Contra Riser. I forgot about that noise.
Change your name legally to that.
And I am Dammit Kriss, a.k.a. Kriss, a.k.a. the World's Worst Gamer. And thanks for joining us.
All right. This is us signing off. Good night.
Bye.
God damn it. Yes, sir. The entire episode is out now. Those 3 are still playing. More content? Yes, sir. Pixel-benders.com is the best place to find it. Yes, you can click the link in the description below. Yes, you can send your questions to info@pixel-benders.com. No, sir. It doesn't cost a thing to give the show a 5-star rating. That's right. Nobody knows you are the one that will keep this podcast alive. Yes. Thank you. Goodbye, Mr. Listener.